in Onside Radio and make sure you subscribe because it really, we're trying to blast this out, man. Let me see how many, I'm going to log into YouTube right now. I think we're around like 300 YouTube subscribers. The Onside, 253 YouTube subscribers. We're broadcasting live right now, which means I'm going to pull it up because I love to participate in the live chat during the show. So you can watch us and listen to us live on YouTube. And my favorite part of YouTube is the chat feature, because you can text us another way through your phone. But what makes the YouTube live chat even better, in my opinion, is you can not only send messages to me, because I read everything that comes in on the YouTube live chat, but you guys can also talk to each other. So it's a full chat room. It's a community. So I read the messages. I respond to them during breaks. You guys can talk to each other even when I'm not reading them every single second. And this is now, I think, the third week that we're doing the YouTube streams. And every day we've done this since the YouTube has been up, a topic on the chat board has turned into a topic on the show. So the interaction goes from the chat room onto the airwaves, and we all have a lot of fun with it. I feel like such an adult. Being an adult stinks, okay? Late in the week last week, stimulus hits, $1,400. That was on Thursday. On Friday, my wife and I realized that our dishwasher was FUBAR, finito, done. Dishwasher was damaged beyond all repairs. We'd had it repaired before. It had been giving us trouble for the last couple of weeks. So there's something, Tito, about the timing, because when that $1,400, and my wife and I each got a $1,400, so like, you know, there's some money left over, but still, you get the $1,400 in the bank account, and a lot of you children out there, and children doesn't necessarily mean you're young. Like you could be 45 years old and you live like a child. A lot of the children out there, they get their $1,400, they're buying a PlayStation 5. You know, they're buying a bunch of video games. They're spending their money on a bunch of nonsense. I am what you call a grown-up. $1,400 stimulus hits. We realize, God damn it, we need a new dishwasher. I had made the suggestion to my wife, why don't we just wash dishes by hand for a while, and I'll buy $1,400 worth of Bitcoin, and then in a year, it's going to be worth like $4,000, and we'll buy a nice dishwasher then. She wasn't going for that idea. Okay, so we go out to BrandsMart, and I had tell me, Tito, if you would approach this the same way with your lovely fiance, if an appliance is necessary. I'm always looking for a bargain, all right? And there are I don't know, BrandsMart probably has 30 different models of dishwasher you can choose from. They range anywhere from around $300 to like $1,300, all right? So I'm looking around like, hey, we can get a 3-star rated dishwasher for like $400. We got a lot of money from that stimulus left over. Do you think that was flying with my wife? We end up springing for the $996 Bosch imported German dishwasher. And then by the time you pay the taxes and the delivery and the installation fees, I had spent about $1,200 and some dollars of my $1,400 stimulus on a dishwasher. That's what you call being a grown-up.
Yep, that sounds like a very grown-up decision for you, and I'm with you, man. I mean, I hate to hear it, I hate to see it, but I mean, hey, that dishwasher's going to do some numbers.
It is. It's going to put up some big numbers. I'm going to make sure that, like, anytime I look at a plate the wrong way, it's got to be washed. Like, I'm going to get my mileage out of that dishwasher, bro. I'm just say, hey, there's a little bit of a smudge here. We need to get this done. I'm intently watching Oklahoma and Gonzaga. So we're about under 6 minutes left in the first half. Every time Gonzaga take a shot, I'm, like, panicking. My heart is racing. I need them to miss. I've got Oklahoma plus 15.5. They're down, what are they down now, by 6? I can't see the Gonzaga. The closed captioning was in front of the Gonzaga. I think Oklahoma's down by 6 heading into a commercial break here. They don't have to win. I just need Oklahoma to lose by less than 16 points, and we got a shot with this thing. They don't have to win the game outright. They just have to lose somewhat gracefully. And Tito and I did win a nice little wager on Oregon earlier today. So we're in the black. We're not in the red right now. This is good.
Ducks smoking that quack, you know what I mean?
Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. Miami Heat lost a third straight yesterday in overtime against the Indiana Pacers. One game over 500 now. 5 seed today, but they're only one game above the 9. All right. I see people debating whether, hey, is this Heat team, because what are they at now, Tito? I think they've won like 11 of their past 15 games despite the poor recent form. So I keep seeing these people debating, oh, well, hold on, who are the Miami Heat? Are they a team that's won 11 of their past 15? Or are they a team who a little over a month and a half ago were 7 games under 500? No, I'll tell you exactly who the Heat are. The Heat are a 5 seed, and they're a game under 500. That's who they are. The larger the sample size, the better an idea you have of a team's true identity. I would say the Miami Heat are very well coached. I would say the Heat have one of the best players in the NBA right now in Jimmy Butler, who is able to offensively will them to some victories. Bam Adebayo is also really good. And one of the few bright spots that I take out of yesterday's loss was early in the game, you saw the Bam Adebayo aggression, the aggression that you don't see often enough from him. So there's plenty of potential with this Heat team, and they are very well coached. I know some of you Spoelstra truthers out there think that he's overrated and, oh, the guy sucks. No, Eric Spoelstra doesn't suck. Eric Spoelstra is an awesome coach, but this team just doesn't have the depth or the scoring potency to be great. They're a good basketball team. They are not a great basketball team. And I'm not saying Kyle Lowry makes you a championship contender, but he does make this team better. All right, and you have the possibility out there. The Heat and the Sixers are considered the favorites to land Toronto's Kyle Lowry in a trade. And I'm telling Pat Riley, Mr. Riley, please do not overreact to the recent winning streak. Do not overreact to the team winning 11 out of their past 15 games. Do not overreact to the fact that a lot of the fans of your team fall in love with these young three-point shooters. Oh, my God, we can't get rid of Tyler Hero. Oh, he's so beautiful, this Tyler. We love him. Oh, Tyler loves Miami. Oh, Duncan Robinson, what a three-point shooter. Potential. Heat fans fall so much in love with potential. I know Kyle Lowry is 35, but Kyle Lowry adds dimensions to this team you just do not have when you talk about being able to create his own shot, when you talk about being able to provide clutch points in the important moments late in the game. And how about the three-point shooting? I mean, for all the love that people have with this Duncan Robinson and this Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson hitting 38% of his threes this year. Tyler Hero hitting 36% of his. Kyle Lowry this year is hitting 39.4% of his. So don't give me this argument about how you can't get rid of the three-point shooting from Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. Heat fans are a silly bunch, Tito, because when this team was really struggling back in January, early February, at one point they're 7 games under 500. The Heat fan is dumping everybody. Like they are getting rid of every single player on the roster. Then you fast forward a few weeks, the team gets into a little bit of a hot streak, and suddenly nobody's tradable. Now I guess we're somewhere in the middle, right? But it just do not overreact to getting attached to the Tyler Heroes of the world. What do you think, Tito? What do you think it would take in a trade to get Kyle Lowry? Because whatever Toronto wants for him, I'm giving them that plus throw in some extra. Like, I want this so badly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm pro Kyle Lowry trade, just because I don't know why Twitter's been doing this, but like, he's a really good player, man. He is an all-star caliber point guard.
He's excellent.
And spare me the 35-year-old stuff. Okay, you've got Goran Dragic coming off the bench who's 36. Okay, veteran point guards and all-stars. The name of the game is accumulate superstar players. You've got Bam, Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic potentially coming off the bench, and then whoever of the young assets you keep. Like, this isn't that hard. And I said this on Twitter. Your thoughts on the trade are basically what you think of this team currently constructed.
Yeah.
If you believe they're good enough to win a championship, then there's no reason to asset hoard like Danny Ainge.
Yeah, they're not.
Right. That's not what this team has ever been about. And if you're not sold on giving Duncan a roughly 4-year, $72 million contract this summer, then get something for him, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just logic. So I'm pro Lowry. I think the trade that makes the most sense is Duncan, a salary filler like Andre, or potentially, I guess, Kelly Olynyk, which is why I feel like every for the past 3 years, Andre and Kelly Olynyk have been somehow involved in any form of a trade. But yeah,
and between the two of those, I would rather give up Andre than Kelly.
Yeah, agreed. Because you have Trevor Ariza, somebody who can, I guess, theoretically do what Andre does.
Right.
But when they acquired him, the reason they made that contract was he's going to be a salary filler. So you trade Duncan, Iggy potentially, and one more player to match salaries for Kyle Lowry, and I don't think you look back, because I do think if you trade for Kyle Lowry, I think there's a very good chance you end up re-signing Kyle Lowry next year.
Yes, definitely.
I'm
not
well.
really even worried about that.
Yeah, because he fits the culture as well.
And he and Jimmy are tight.
Exactly. So it's not like Kyle's coming to Miami viewing it as, 3 months in the sun. No, like he's here to win ball games.
Right.
And he's still a very productive player.
If you want to get in, text line 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. We'll get the YouTube chat fired up. I see a handful of folks in there watching us. Go to YouTube, search Onside Radio. You should already be subscribing to our channel. If you haven't, please do. Onside Radio, we're streaming live right now. Get in on the YouTube chat. We have a lot of fun there. So guests on the show today, in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to talk some Canes football and some Cruton with Gabby Urrutia from InsideTheU.com. Gabby's a really good dude and very knowledgeable. In the 3 o'clock hour, in about 15 minutes, we're going to talk Heat basketball. We'll talk Kyle Lowry with Ira Winterman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. He joins us for the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report. When we come back, we'll go through our winners and losers from the busy sports weekend. That is coming your way next. This is your home for Miami Heat fans all over the world. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans. Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You may be shocked to hear this, Tito. I didn't fill out a single bracket this year.
Neither did I.
I'm only gambling.
Yeah, same. I actually did not fill out a bracket.
Fill out a bracket.
But I'm gambling on them. So yeah, this feels a lot less like my emotions are riding high, right? Like when you bet on games individually, like it's not like, oh my God, Ohio State screwed me.
Right.
You know, whereas like with like, oh, I don't care for Ohio State. I'm glad they lost.
Well, there's something about like, and I know like people do win bracket challenges. It's not like playing the Powerball. And I know people win the Powerball, but like your chances of winning a bracket challenge, I'm sure, are higher than that. But like the bracket challenge I usually always do is one with like 50 people. Like it's a group that we've had going since high school. And so it's like a bunch of and it's always weird because I wouldn't even call these people my friends anymore. I don't really keep up with my high school peeps. I think there's like 2 dudes that I went to high school with who I would legitimately still consider friends, and then all these others are just randos by this point. I mean, I've been out of high school since 2003. I don't correspond with a lot of these people, but then I'm in the same bracket challenge with like a bunch of people that I haven't seen in 18 years, and it's weird. But I just decided not to do it this year, right? Because it's like everybody buys in like $40, so the winner of the bracket challenge gets a considerable amount of money. But like a 50-person challenge, I've never won the goddamn thing before. So I had been playing this for like 21 years because I think I started doing this when I was in 9th or 10th grade. So it's been a really, really long time. And I just decided, and of course last year we didn't have one because March Madness got canceled. And so after the liberation of not just flushing $40 down the toilet last year because I never win this thing, I just decided this year I'm just not going to do it. Right? And listen, my interest in the tournament stays because, A, there are games on every channel, it feels. Like you can't escape it. TBS, TNT, CBS, True TV. If you go on like any of the ESPN channels, they've got the women's tournament on or the NIT. So it's all over the place. And then if I wager individually on games, I can still get that rush from March Madness. So, yeah, I just decided I'm not going to do a bracket this year. And if I did, I'm sure like all the rest of you, I'd be complaining about, you know, oh, I had Ohio State going deep or Florida going deep, and now my bracket's destroyed. So I saved myself that frustration this year. I'm only gambling. I'm not doing the bracket, which really is gambling if you think about it. All right, busy sports weekend. Let's go through our Monday tradition. Winners and losers of the weekend. I love how Tito's never ready to hit. Like I check with him during the break. You have the winners and losers open? Of course I do. He's never ready. All right, we got it.
Let's check out the winners and losers from this past week with Alex Donno. Winners and losers.
Yeah, first couple winners. I'll throw out some love in the tournament. How about Sister Jean and Loyola? I am a sucker for a good story, and 101-year-old Sister Jean is a fantastic story. Loyola takes down top-seeded Illinois in the second round, and you saw Sister Jean blessing Loyola before that game. She said that prayer. Bros, she even provided a scouting report, like a better scouting report than most coaches. Like she's talking about how important it is to score first and you have to defend the 3-ball. It's like she gave a nice prayer. Jesus was clearly listening, and Loyola went on to win the game. What a story. I also give some love to Oral Roberts. I've never rooted this hard for Oral. That's a lie. Because they take down Florida to get to the Sweet 16. So we had some good stories over the weekend in the NCAA tournament. So Sister Jean, Loyola, Oral, these are good stories, man. Another winner, the Florida Panthers. Yes, they lost to the Lightning 5-3 yesterday. They split over the weekend, though. They beat Nashville 2-0 on Saturday. I cannot ignore the run that this team has been on. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, and I love the fact that Alexander Barkov, who's got 13 goals this year, he's playing very well, leads the Panthers in points. Barkey is finally getting national recognition. I mean, I guess you could say international recognition because there are teams in Canada as well. He's finally getting international recognition as, at least for right now, a dark horse candidate for the Hart Trophy. The Hart Trophy is the name for the NHL's MVP award. So Alexander Barkov is finally getting into that conversation, okay? He's not favored to win it right now. There's still almost half a season to go. He keeps playing the way he's playing. He's going to continue to be on that short list. I love how Alexander Barkov, who is just filthy on the ice, is starting to get that recognition that man deserves, okay? Other winners, my friends here at Onside Radio who have gotten vaccinated or are in the process of it. I'm really happy for these guys. If you were listening to the Onside Zone with Big O got his second dose of Pfizer yesterday, so it's going to be about 2 weeks once it all percolates through his system that he's going to be, officially 96% immune. So the vaccine's working for him. He got his second shot today. He's tough. He came to work, even if he's feeling a little bit tired, which is normal after you get these vaccine doses. Really happy for Big O. He's gotten both of his doses now. I listened to our guy, Kai Chen Chisholm from Kai's Corner, 10 to noon. He got, I think, his first dose recently of Moderna. And I was listening to Toast and Marsh this morning on 4th and 20, and Toast is getting his first dose of Pfizer on Wednesday, and he's actually getting it with his wife. They're doing like a couples vaccination. So I'm really, really happy for our brothers here at Onside Radio, Big O, Kai, and Toast, who are in the process of getting vaccinated. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get higher on that list, man. But I'm happy for our friends who are here who are already getting it done. Let's get to the losers. God, I can't ignore this one, and I don't like having to talk about this one. The Miami Hurricanes baseball team. Woof. They got swept by Florida State over the weekend. Did you see the combined score? Florida State swept Miami 34-2 were the combined scores of those 3 games. That is a rough baseball weekend for our Canes, who were the former number 1 team in the country. Thank God we own Florida State in football in recent years, right? Because the baseball humiliation, if that was coupled with recent football humiliation, that would be too much for me. We still have 52-10 this past year. So at least Miami has been controlling the football rivalry lately, because that would be very important to me. Another loser, the Miami Heat. 3 straight losses, 2 straight to the Indiana Pacers. They tried to outpacer the Pacers with those yellow-ass ugly jerseys recently, but listen, imitation, I guess, is the highest form of flattery. 3-point shooting has become a problem for the Heat. Just 3 for 18 in the first half yesterday. They shot 9 for 37 in the game from 3. In the prior loss to Indiana, they shot 9 for 34. This team is built in a way where they have to be hitting 3 balls in order to win. If they're not hitting 3 balls, they don't really have a plan B, and that's rough. Heat are now the 5 seed, just 1 game in front of the 8, though, so we have to watch out for that. Final losers, Cristiano Ronaldo, Andrea Pirlo, and Juventus. Ronaldo yesterday, very ineffective. Andrea Pirlo, the Juventus coach, former great player, was arrogant, and Juventus lost 1-0 to Benevento yesterday, the 16th placed team in Italian Serie A. Benevento had been, I think, 11 games winless prior to yesterday, and they go in to Juventus' stadium and win a 1-0 game. Oh, my God, 16th place out of 20. And why I say Andrea Pirlo, the Juventus manager, was arrogant was, so the team that I support, Inter Milan, are in first place in the Italian league right now, a league that Juventus has won the past 9 straight seasons, and Inter is in first place this year, okay? And Inter last week got some bad news. They have a handful of COVID positive cases, which is not good. And the local government there in Milan, Italy. Now, keep in mind, Italy is having a third wave of COVID. Like, cases are spiking there again, which is really unfortunate. And we're very lucky in this country that the vaccine numbers are ramping up. We're getting a lot of folks vaccinated. In parts of Europe, they're way behind us. They don't have the available vaccines in the quantities that we have them over here. They're still, because like now, I know people in their 20s who are getting vaccinated. And, you know, most of the senior citizens have gotten it or at least had the opportunity to get it, right? If you're a senior citizen, if you haven't had it, it's probably because for whatever reason you opted not to do it. You've had the opportunity to get it. In Italy, they're still at like 85-year-olds. Like, they haven't gone below that because they have so few vaccines available. So they're seeing a big spike in that country, especially in the Milan area, and they had some cases on the team. So the local government forbid Inter from playing their game that was scheduled for this past weekend, and they forbid them from traveling. And so this jackass, Andrea Pirlo, the Juventus coach, he referred to Inter's recent COVID outbreak as lucky because they didn't have to play their game and they don't have to send players on international duty, which, by the way, may get reversed. The players who are not sick may actually have to go on international duty, so it's not really the advantage he said it was. So he's talking about Inter getting unfair advantages when it's not even their decision. It's the goddamn government making this decision, so he's a jackass. And then what does he do after bitching and moaning? He goes out there and drops points against one of the worst teams in the league. So that is a big, big loser move there for Pirlo. So those are your winners and losers from the weekend. Losers, Juventus, the Miami Heat, sad to say it. Hurricanes baseball. Winners, our friends here at Onside who have gotten vaccinated or are getting vaccinated. The Florida Panthers, Sister Jean and Loyola and Oral Roberts. By the way, it's not looking so great, Tito, for either of us here at halftime. So you, correct me if I'm wrong, you bet the under on.
I did.
On this Oklahoma-Gonzaga game. And what was that number, about 155?
156 and a half.
156 and a half. And
I
bet on Oklahoma plus 15 and a half. They're scoring a ton of points, both teams, but Oklahoma's down 12. So neither of our bets are looking very good.
Yep. Got a whole second half for one of these teams to just stop trying. You know, that's
hopefully
the hope.
Gonzaga stops trying.
Hopefully one of them does.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some Miami Heat basketball, some NBA with our good pal Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. He's going to join us for the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report when we return. Hey, get the brutal honesty every day from noon to 3 with the Big O and the Onside Zone exclusively right here noon to 3 p.m. on OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with the Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky. but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram. And it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Currently at halftime, Gonzaga with a 12-point lead over Oklahoma. Number 1 seed Zags looking to make the Sweet 16. That game's at halftime. Already happening, though, Oregon upsetting number 2 seed Iowa, beating them down 95-80. Pac-12 taking over for the Big Ten. Elsewhere in sports, Miami Heat falling to 22-21 on the season. Heat have lost 3 in a row after losing to the Indiana Pacers 109-106 yesterday. In overtime, Heat get a chance for revenge. They take on the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday. That tip-off is slated for 8 p.m. Florida Panthers also falling yesterday to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost 5-3. Lightning with a chance to get a win, or Panthers, correction, with a chance to get a win on Tuesday. That is up against Chicago Blackhawks. That game starts at 8 o'clock. Puck drop set at 8 o'clock. Panthers going as a slight betting favorite, according to Vegas. With your Onside Sports Update, I'm Tito Bonacci. Coming up next, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. It's time to talk Miami Heat with NBA insider Ira Winderman. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report, exclusively at OnsideRadio.com. Let's go over the latest headlines locally with the Miami Heat and league-wide in the NBA with our very own Ira Winderman.
Yeah, I said it last week. Last week we had to rearrange the schedule, so we didn't have Ira on until Thursday, so it sucked having to wait longer for Ira, but then the quick turnaround made it all worth it. So I get my Ira fix just a few days later. It's Monday. This is our regularly scheduled Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report. Ira Winderman, I wish it had been a better weekend for the Miami Heat, but how was your weekend, sir? How you doing?
I am doing good, but the last time we talked, the Heat were great, and now they suck. So it just shows you how the quick turnaround can be a problem also, Donno.
Yeah, and you know me, even when things were going well, I hadn't taken my eye away from potential trades. Now, the last time we spoke, we were breaking down the Trevor Ariza trade, and I asked you if you thought that was the last move to be had or if the Heat may have another move in them. And then a lot of the talk, Ira, for the last couple of days has been about Kyle Lowry. So let me ask you, is that something you think Pat is going to be aggressive on here for the next few days before the deadline?
I'm actually glad you phrased it that way, because if you're asking me if Pat going to be aggressive on it, the answer is already known and is yes. I was afraid you were going to ask me if I thought it was going to happen, and then I would have sort of hedged a little bit. The Heat are in on that, have been in on that. It's a matter of, one, what it takes, two, if they have enough. It's interesting. I would like Kyle Lowry and Goran Dragic. In other words, not giving Goran up. Then I'd have sort of that bulldog scorer in the first unit, assume with Kyle, and a bulldog scorer in the second unit with Goran. But if you take Goran out of the equation, to make salaries match, you're probably talking about giving up Kelly Olynyk and Andre Iguodala, and then maybe as much as Tyler Hero or otherwise Duncan Robinson. So when you sort of shed everything to the side, the reasons the Raptors are making Kyle available is he's an impending free agent. One, they don't know if they are going to re-sign him, can re-sign him, or even should re-sign him based on their other priorities and the use of their other players. But if that being the case, if they're going to make a trade where it's the expiring contracts of Iguodala and Olynyk, and then they're getting Duncan Robinson, an impending free agent anyway, they still have to make a spending decision. So that doesn't make sense. The other part of it is, if you throw in a Tyler Hero, that's a hell of a gamble by the Miami Heat to give up such a young player for a 35-year-old impending free agent. So I think that's where it gets interesting, and I still believe that Toronto can get a better offer from the hometown 76ers of Lowry. he gets to go home, whether it's Matisse Thybulle, whether it's their young rookie Maxey, or even some draft choices. That would seem to be the more suitable deal. I'm not so sure that the Raptors aren't playing up the Heat interest, trying to push the 76ers to make more available.
That's a very interesting angle, but I want to dwell on something from the Heat side before we get more into the Sixers. On the Tyler Hero part of it, and yeah, as I'm sure you know, that's what's really dividing a lot of Heat fans. I find that Heat fans really can fall in love with the young player, with the potential. We've seen some of that potential from Tyler, of course, to be fair. He's had some excellent moments in a Heat uniform. I'm a little bit more pragmatic with these things, and even though I know Kyle Lowry is 35, I just consider him to be so much more valuable at this moment. I think he's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. I think it'd be more than a rental of a few months. He'd probably end up staying here. Personally, I think the juice would be worth the squeeze on this one if it means including Tyler Hero. Are you on either side of the fence on that?
You know what side of the fence I'm on is this, and I tell people, one, take the emotion out of it, whether a player is a fun player, whether he's one of yours because he's been here, whether you own his breakfast cereal or are planning to go to Chipotle tomorrow to get his Tuesday Tyler Bowl special. Put all that aside, folks. All the fun stuff, his Instagram model girlfriend, put it aside and ask yourself this question honestly. At this moment, because we can only project at this moment, what is Tyler Hero's ultimate upside? If you believe that Tyler Hero is going to be a star NBA shooting guard, you do not pull the trigger. If you believe Tyler Hero's ultimate upside will be a quality but erratic sixth man, maybe somewhere along the lines of a Lou Williams, then I think you're more likely to push for a trade because you're getting a known all-star quantity. So I think you have to do that first, Donno, is you have to ask yourself what is, and it's tough because even NBA evaluators have trouble 2 years in doing that. Yeah. What is the ultimate upside? And I think you move forward from there. That's why when we're talking about players who are available at the trade deadline, I can see you looking at Kyle Lowry at 35 and saying, but Ira, how many more years are we getting out of him versus what could be a decade of Tyler Hero? I think that's reasonable. I think that's why when you talk about, say, Victor Oladipo, who also is eminently available from the fire sale Houston Rockets, well, if you put a Tyler Hero into a trade like that, at least you're saying we are getting youth that will endure instead. So maybe you don't put Tyler Hero into a Kyle Lowry deal because you'd rather put him into a Victor Oladipo deal.
Okay. That makes some more sense to me. So could there be an Oladipo deal to be had then? And also, I wanted to also ask you about LaMarcus Aldridge, a potential buyout option there, because I think that still could be very much on the back burner.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in play here. The Oladipo thing is going to be out there. I think the Rockets are asking for the mortgage from everyone, thinking they were dealing from a position of strength. Remember, that Oladipo deal can happen because they got him in the James Harden trade. So if they keep getting diminishing returns, you're really going to look at the Harden trade and go, what the heck were they thinking? So I think Houston is trying to hold out for more. I don't think they can get more. I think they definitely will wind up losing Victor Oladipo in free agency anyway. I think that's a team you can sweat out and get a very good return on your dollar, which is probably why you wait till the 3 p.m. deadline on Thursday to see where that happens. LaMarcus Aldridge is a little different. LaMarcus Aldridge earning $24 million. He is not a $24 million player. He's not a $14 million player, probably not a $10 million player. But what he is a buyout market player. And he would give the Heat a little bit more height, especially if they have to throw Kelly Olynyk's contract into a deal. At least you would get a replacement option there. You would get a bit more length, even though you're getting age. So I think these all tie in together. I think if you make a move for an Oladipo or for a Kyle Lowry and give up some of your big, then you have to have someone else who's going to come in on the buyout market like LaMarcus Aldridge. The only question is, does another team say, you know what, San Antonio, instead of you having to eat a salary, we'll trade you some contracts for him and give you something in return, maybe even a draft pick, something the Heat don't have. I think, Donno, if the Heat come out of the quote trade deadline / buyout period with either Oladipo or Lowry plus LaMarcus Aldridge, they'll be a better team than they are right now.
We're joined here by Ira Winterman, covers the Miami Heat and the NBA for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. He joins us weekly here on the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report. If Kyle Lowry ends up in Philly, Ira, where does that then put the Sixers in the pecking order in the East?
You know what? And I don't love the fit for this reason. I think any time you take the ball out of Ben Simmons' hands, Ben Simmons becomes less of a player. So I'm almost curious about that. I'm almost curious if that doesn't, I don't want to say diminish Philadelphia, it gives them more talent, and it definitely gives them a closer, which they have lost when they lost Jimmy Butler. That Joel Embiid, you have to get the ball into the post for him to be effective. Ben Simmons doesn't have the outside shooting threat if you need a three. So I think Kyle Lowry would fill what Philadelphia has not had since Jimmy Butler left. But, Donno, I'm going to be honest with you here. Even let's step back and talk about the Heat with Lowry or Oladipo or LaMarcus Aldridge. Are any of these teams getting past James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving?
They're not.
And I wrote this in my Sunday column at the Sun Sentinel and at sunsentinel.com. This almost, not to the specific degree, but it's like all those teams down here in South Florida, where we watched all the teams chasing the Heat's big three, and Indiana knocking their head against the wall every year, and Boston finally capitulating, and Ray Allen joining them because you couldn't beat them. I think you got to be honest also. And so if you're the Sixers, do you give up a part of your future to try to beat these Nets now? If you're the Heat, do you give up a part of your future to try to beat these Nets now? And maybe the answer is this. We saw the Heat big three didn't really coalesce until their second season. Yep. So I guess maybe the thought, Donno, also is this. If you're ever going to beat the Nets big three, maybe this is the one time you do it before there's no COVID protocols, before they're all healthier, before they all have a full season together. So maybe that's the approach also. But to me, all eyes are on the Nets in the East when it comes to what do you do to make your team NBA Finals worthy.
That word again, Ira, coalesce. I've heard that one before.
Sorry,
by the way, that was one of the funniest clips I've seen in the last couple weeks. And I got to admit, coalesce is the type of word that I would use, even though I don't think I was 100% sure what it meant until you actually explained it on that clip. So you made me a little smarter. And I got to tell you,
and I was going to have some fun with it after and make a point of every Jimmy interview going forward to throw in a word like supercilious or something like that. But you know what, Donno? After losses, doesn't play as well trying to do something like that. So the fun has been put on hold during the losing streak. We'll see if we get back to the SAT words a little later down the season.
By the way, Ira, I was watching the clip this morning of the LeBron injury, and I'm a little bit flabbergasted that Montrezl Harrell and some people are trying to say that Hill did it on purpose. I don't see anything in that clip, Ira, that would indicate malicious intent.
A hustle play.
Yeah.
And if you think that's bad, then you should simply ban Patrick Beverley from the league.
Yeah.
Because for every single play that Solomon Hill might make like that, there are a dozen from Patrick Beverley. And you know what? That's the kind of hustle play that if Solomon Hill was LeBron James' teammate, he would be encouraging him to make. At all costs, dive and go after the loose ball. So, look, I understand the emotion of the moment. When you're a Lakers teammate and you see LeBron go down, the first thing you're going to say to yourself is, that was a dirty play. You got to look at that. That guy should be fined. But the reality is it was a awkward hustle play, but made in the name of hustle, not in the name of attempting to injure.
Absolutely right. This man does a great job. You want to check him out on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Check out his work inside the South Florida Sun Sentinel, sunsentinel.com. Ira Winterman joins us on the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report. Ira, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your week.
I'll try to be less obsequious next time. Thank you, Donno.
The SAT words, man. That was so great. Oh, man. Hey, if you guys want to get in, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Or join us live on YouTube. We're streaming live all day, basically, here on Onside Radio. We do start the stream over when a new show comes in. So, you know, when one show ends, you hop on the new show. But from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, we stream the station live on YouTube so you can watch the video, although chances are you're probably not logging on to look at my beautiful face. You're probably logging on because the chat is a lot of fun. So we get the live chat going on YouTube, youtube.com. Search for Onside Radio. Make sure you subscribe to the station And by the way, when you start streaming a video, smash the like button, the little thumbs up, because that helps spread the video out to more people. You get Onside trending, and we really appreciate you guys for that. We'll wrap up the 3 o'clock hour when we come back. Jim Boeheim said something that really impressed me, and I've got a theory that it's going to sound a little quirky, but I have a theory I need to throw out there to Tito and the rest of you guys and see if I'm crazy or if I'm onto something here. You're listening to Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Hey, every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans, OnSideRadio.com.
This has been the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report with Ira Winderman. Visit Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard. Come experience the oasis that customers deserve and the dealership that earned Dealer Rater's 2020 Consumer Satisfaction Award at Acura of Pembroke Pines. This is how we do it. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits
with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Big news, Miami fans! Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So every year, Syracuse are not even supposed to get into the tournament, and then they advance. Like, they weren't supposed to get in, but they're in the Sweet 16, all right? I think this is the 20th time under Jim Boeheim they get to the Sweet 16. That's pretty remarkable. But, there was a lot of criticism for Syracuse even getting into the dance. Jim Boeheim was asked over the weekend about that criticism directed at his team. I love his answer so much. And I think this answer could only come from somebody with a name like Jim from his generation, okay? He says, quote, on the criticism, I don't hear it because they're from people who are inconsequential, he said. All that stuff on the internet, not one sentence on the internet matters, not one. He says, when my boss, the athletic director, or the chancellor says something to me, I listen to that. They have not. I love that so much, Tito. Not one sentence on the internet matters. Not one. Like, I think about it, and this is very serious, but I think about all the people who literally go into depression because they're getting bullied online. We need to all be Boeheim. Like, we need to be Boeheim. Not one sentence on the internet matters. Not one. Like, and I think about stuff like that, Tito, because I'm a pretty nice dude, so I don't get a whole lot of hate on the web. But most of the hate that I do get comes from people with hiding behind avatars with burner accounts. So, like, I try not to let that bother me. Like, if I talk some shit about Juventus and then all of a sudden I get attacked by these, like, Cristiano Ronaldo fanboys, like, I don't take it personally because at the end of the day, these are anonymous basement-dwelling children with Cristiano Ronaldo avatars.
Right.
Why should I lose a second of sleep over these losers?
Hey, man, some people live in that world.
Yeah.
And that world to them means something, which, like, you and I we can't relate to that because, like, I don't give a crap what FinFan755 thinks of my opinion, right? Now, it seems like not everyone thinks that way, but, like, it's right. Like, sometimes – I think Marsh kind of can be a good example because, like, Marsh, we know he has some crap opinions.
Oh, my God, the
but
worst.
Great person, right?
Awesome person.
Absolutely great person. Nothing wrong with him.
And I love his crap opinions.
Exactly, and we love his crap opinions. But there's some dudes that say some, like, really messed up stuff to him sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, you feel like there's, like, I guess that imaginary line where it's like, man, like, why do people take this app so seriously?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, there's always these I guess, like you said, fanboys and these burner Twitter accounts that have, like, dogs as their profile pictures, and they don't want to, put a face to their name.
And then as soon as, like, a lot of these people will get banned from Twitter, and then as soon as they get banned, they make a new avatar, a new email address, new account. They just move on to the next insult. Like, don't let these people bother you. I have a theory, though, I got to run by you on the other side. We're going to reset. 4 o'clock hour coming up. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon, for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour, Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno, with you till 6 o'clock here on OnsideRadio.com. We take you up until Kai's Corner. Kai Chen Chisholm does an awesome job each and every day from 6 to 7 o'clock.
You're talking about game night, aren't you?
Yeah, my bad. What am I talking about? I thought about that for a half second. I'm like, wait, that's because I just did the Kai's Corner.
You did.
Jesus, maybe I got vaccinated and then it's just scrambling my brain. I don't think I did.
You know what it is, Donno? It's this Gonzaga's bet.
It is.
It's got you all jumbled up.
Oh, they're up 16. They're covering. Oh no.
Oh man.
So
oh my gosh.
I take you up until game night with Michael Christian. Kai's Corner is on from 10 a.m. to noon. Excuse my brain scramble. I take you up until 6 o'clock. Michael Christian does a fantastic job 6 to 7 o'clock every evening. We're broadcasting live inside the beautiful Inter Miami CF Stadium. The pink, black, gray, and white seats look absolutely majestic here. We're about to have the changing of the guard from Tito to Alex Aguirre, who's in the building now. He's going to do a great job. We got the YouTube page going. You could stream the show, video and audio, live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com on the computer or your YouTube mobile app. Search Onside Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you're watching the video live, you can participate in the chat. Doug writes in, Alex, considering your marital peace, which of these massage therapists could work out that knot and not have you in the doghouse? 1, Rosie O'Donnell. 2, Yoko Ono. Or 3, Courtney Love. It's funny he brings that up. So if you guys have been following this this saga, this scandal with Deshaun Watson, there are now 22 accusers. 9 lawsuits have been filed. And most, if not all of these, are women who performed massages on him before they alleged they were assaulted, okay? And there's one woman, the lovely Lala, who has come out and publicly defended Deshaun Watson, saying she's massaged him before and he's not done anything inappropriate. It didn't turn into anything sexual. Now, the lovely Lala is a gorgeous woman who seems to be more of an Instagram model. I don't actually find any evidence of her. Maybe she is, but she doesn't seem to really advertise the fact that she's a licensed massage therapist. She seems to be an Instagram model. And there's something that's a little strange here about the Watson thing. And I emphasize the word strange because this does not prove sexual assault. I'm not sitting here and saying he's guilty. Like, I have no way of knowing what went on or didn't go on in those massages, all right? But I don't think it helps his case when the woman coming out publicly defending him seems to be someone who he booked massages through by sliding into her Instagram DMs, basically finding the hottest woman he could find on Instagram and offering to pay her to massage him. Like, I don't know if that's the ally you want in this fight, okay? Because now you also have to remember the lawsuits, these are civil, these are not criminal cases. So the burden of proof is a little bit different, right? I mean, O.J. Simpson was acquitted in the court of law for his murder charge, but did lose the civil case. So the burden of proof is not exactly the same here. So, and again, these are not criminal charges may come because the Houston police are investigating. Right now, you're dealing with a civil matter. I don't think it looks good for him civilly when, you know, you're apparently booking massages with dozens of women that you are selecting to massage you based on their Instagram profiles and how they look rather than their actual massage qualifications. I don't think that's going to help his case, okay? Because as a professional athlete at the highest level, you would think Deshaun Watson, if he's looking for a professional massage to get the knots out, could find a number of different people who work with the Houston Texans to work on him from a physio standpoint, that he doesn't need to be going to the internet and sliding into DMs of women he's never met to fly them out and massage him. So, again, this is not proof of sexual assault. It creates a pattern that doesn't make him look very good. It makes him look very thirsty, if you're familiar with that term. So I don't think that helps his case, right? Whereas, you know, Tito is a happily married guy, and I'm not one of these people who gets a ton of massages. I've been professionally massaged 4 times in my life, okay? All by women. But the 4 times I have been massaged, 3 out of those 4 women looked like Janet Reno. Like I'm not going on to like Instagram and finding the 10s and saying, hey, you know, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Why don't I pay you to come and massage me? Like most of the massage therapists I booked have man hands. Like, this one woman was so incredibly strong, she could have kicked my ass. Okay, like and Deshaun Watson is engaged. I don't know how his fiance would feel about him sliding into all these DMs to get these massages. Because wouldn't you think, Tito? And again, I'm not saying that this proves he's guilty of sexual assault, but wouldn't you think a multi-million-dollar athlete, quarterback of an NFL team, starting quarterback of an NFL team, could probably have a number of different like team options for massage therapy? He wouldn't have to be finding women he's never met on the internet to come fly out to Houston to massage him. This doesn't create a pattern that's going to help his case.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this is where now, and this is kind of a harsh reality of the circumstance, which is now it's kind of feeling like quantity over quality here, right?
Yeah.
Like, and as sad as, like, we live in the court of public opinion, and he is innocent until proven guilty, but in the court of public opinion, those two kind of ideas are somewhat mutually exclusive at times. And so the fact that you say, like, there's these, you know, documented messages, and, I mean, at this point, over a dozen people alleging the exact same thing, it's kind of hard to believe that this is all, you know, just coincidence, right?
Yeah,
it's just kind of hard to do that. Now, that being said, like I've told people, it's in everyone's best interest to continue to wait until the facts play out of this situation. But I do find I guess growing nature and concerning like bits of information that are revealed as this grows more and more, it doesn't look good for Deshaun either way, right? Like Big O made a point to say like, oh, that with Antonio Brown's case, which is completely different last year, nobody wanted to trade for him, and I said, well, that's different because Antonio Brown is not Deshaun Watson, but 20 cases is a lot, man.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 1 or 2, like. I mean, Tito, you remember the way that I reacted to the first case. Like I wasn't
right.
I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to a potential victim of sexual assault. But when it was one accuser, you know, what am I falling back on? I'm falling back of everything I know about Deshaun Watson, and he seemed to be squeaky clean. Like at the time, it's like this guy's never been accused of anything. Like seems to be an upstanding citizen. We have no evidence of any wrongdoing here. The timing of that first allegation anyway, seemed a little bit suspicious given his, you know, public divorce that's happening with the Houston Texans. And so it was kind of easy for me to brush off one accuser and say this might just be some sort of exploitation, right? But when one accuser turns into 24, you've got to, like you said, sit back and let it play out. And I'm a little bit puzzled by this report from Aaron Wilson of the Houston Chronicle. He cites unnamed sources, but he makes a claim that multiple teams remain interested in Watson. The Eagles, the Panthers, the Jets, the Dolphins, the 49ers, and the Broncos. So these teams remain interested in Deshaun Watson despite this saga and despite this legal cloud that's hanging over his head right now. My take, the word interest can mean a number of things, right? Just to say that these teams remain interested in Deshaun Watson, that's a very, very broad explanation of the situation, right? Because I don't know if the word interested means these guys are making offers right now. Like, oh, I don't care. Like, I don't care what he's been accused of. Take 3 first-round picks. I want to get this deal done today. Does interested mean that? I doubt it. Interested probably means we're going to sit back, put this on the back burner, but we're watching. That's probably what that means. Like, if you talk about these teams being quote-unquote interested, the Eagles, the Panthers, the Jets, the Dolphins, the 49ers, the Broncos, I don't see how any of these teams could say, yeah, we'll pull the trigger on a deal tonight. I don't see how you can say that, because you would potentially be acquiring someone who, until his name is cleared, looks toxic. Absolutely toxic until he can clear his name, if or when that day can come. So I don't see how these teams could have urgent interest, like we have to get this done, or even, hey, maybe we can get him at a discount right now because of these allegations. Like, maybe we only have to give like 1 first-rounder and a second-rounder. I don't know, man. I would probably take the word interested to mean that we're monitoring the situation and the interest we have in him is not dead. We're just putting it on the back burner, right? That if we can get some sort of positive resolution in this case, that then we would be ready to move forward. But I don't see how any of these teams, and I know, I know that I can't speak for all of these teams, but I know that the Dolphins care about their public image. I don't see how you could acquire a guy in a trade right now who has 24 sexual assault allegations hanging over his head. That would seem pretty out of character given the landscape of the country right now, and the landscape of the Miami Dolphins. So I'm not really expecting that to be a thing, man. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Doug says, okay, so you're picking Janet Reno over Yoko? I mean, but I don't know. But between your 3 choices, you say Rosie O'Donnell, Yoko Ono, or Courtney Love. Courtney Love is a little crazy. Like, I feel like Courtney Love probably wouldn't show up to the appointment. Like, she would reschedule me 100 times. I don't know if I want to deal with that headache. Yoko, she's also crazy. I don't know. I feel like Rosie could really get into the knots. Like, I think I'd probably go Rosie out of those 3, and it wouldn't jeopardize the marriage. In fact, my wife would probably want to be there when Rosie comes over, because she would like want to hang out and shoot the shit with Rosie. Like, she'd probably want to like have a conversation with her. I don't feel like my wife could relate to Yoko that much. Maybe Courtney Love, because my wife and I both like Nirvana. I'm not a huge fan of Hole, but Nirvana, yeah. Like, we could ask her for some Kurt Cobain stories. That might be kind of fun. But I think Rosie is probably the choice, man. I think probably so. Bromar Smelly says, for Tito, that was from Herman. Bromar says Tua needs more agility. Dude needs to scramble more. Herman says, for Tito and Alex, you think Tua getting so muscular will affect his accuracy? I was watching Russell Wilson, and this guy is kind of big too. I don't know if being muscular having any effect on accuracy. I don't think so. I mean, for the most part, muscular is good. I think if you're going to have any concerns about a player getting more muscular, if he's carrying more weight, does that make him slower? I think that's one thing you would look at. I'm not saying that's the case, but if you're asking me what are the downsides to a professional athlete getting more muscular, I think more muscular is usually better. But if there is any downside, it makes you a little bit heavier. So does that slow you down? And if you're more muscular, because it takes more oxygen for your body, are you risking cramping up more often? Like I'm grasping at straws here. I don't see how being more muscular would hurt his accuracy. No, I don't. I think accuracy is a combination of God-given talent and hard work to develop the precision. I don't see how adding muscle would make him a less accurate quarterback. I think that's a little bit of a strange place to go with it. I would say overall more muscular is good. And, Tua can, in Tua's case, like I talk about, hey, you have a concern of carrying more weight. Does it make you slower? I think in Tua's case, adding bulk is a good thing because that might be able to make him more durable. So I think for Tua, it's good. I'm not looking at any real downside with that, man. 844-416-8123 is how you get in. That's 844-416-8123. We're going to get into to my part of the roundtable discussion when we come back. Very quick Isaiah Wilson era in Miami. It only lasted a few days before the former Tennessee Titan found himself released by the Miami Dolphins. Was it a worthwhile move? Was the Dolphins' acquisition of Isaiah Wilson a mistake? We'll get into that when we come back. Hey, weeknights, 6 to 7 p.m., catch Game Night with Michael Christian. Listen to the show that provides the smorgasbord that gamers love and sports fans desire. From breaking sports news to the latest in gaming culture, catch Game Night with Michael Christian, 6 to 7 p.m., exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnSideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, Alex Donno with you guys till 6 o'clock here on Onside Radio. We have the other Alex Aguirre, on the other side of the glass. In about 15 minutes, we're going to talk some Miami Hurricanes and recruiting with Gabby Urrutia from InsideTheU.com. He's going to give us the progress report on spring practice so far and on any Miami recruits and potential commits we should keep our eyes on, all right? So I was shocked and a little bit disappointed over the weekend when I saw that the Isaiah Wilson experiment had already come to an end. in a matter of days, the Dolphins acquired former first-round pick offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson, was drafted out of Georgia last year by the Tennessee Titans, a late first-round pick. Things didn't work out there in Tennessee for a number of reasons, including his mental state, off-the-field incidents, numerous off-the-field incidents, including driving issues, DUI. One point he was at a party and it looked like he was threatening to jump off of a second-story balcony. Just the guy's mind is not right, was not right, and it's clear that it still isn't right because in a matter of days after the Dolphins acquired him, swapping seventh-round picks with the Tennessee Titans, the Dolphins gave the Titans one of their seventh-round picks this year. Titans are going to give the Dolphins a seventh-round pick next year. The Dolphins cut bait on him. And I'm disappointed because I really thought he could provide the Dolphins with needed depth at offensive tackle and a potential starter, right? Because a year ago, this guy was a first-round pick to play offensive tackle. So to get him for a seventh-round pick, it felt like a steal, okay? Knowing what we knew then and especially what we know now about Isaiah Wilson's troubles off the field, what the Dolphins did in acquiring him, it was a gamble. So I think the question you have to ask yourself now is, was the gamble worth taking? I believe it was. And I'm not going to lose a second of sleep over what the Dolphins did, despite the fact that they cut him in only a matter of days, okay? Now, normally when something like this happens, yeah, I would put the spotlight on the front office for making a failed move like this, okay? Because, NFL teams put so much into the vetting process. You have your own security guy, your private detectives looking into it. You talk to people who are close friends, former teammates, people who have interacted with a guy like Isaiah Wilson. What are the red flags? Is this guy's mind not right? Is he not committed to professional football? And you make an educated decision from there as to whether or not he's worth acquiring. Now, yeah, you could say, hey, maybe the Dolphins did a poor job with their due diligence here and they should have known better. The only thing is, the way that the Dolphins worked the trade was pretty brilliant. And so, no, even after releasing him after only a few days, I'm still going to say the gamble was worth it. And I'm going to put the blame on Isaiah Wilson himself and not the Dolphins front office because it's obvious this guy, he needs help. His mental state is not right. He needs to get his own house in order before he can consider playing professional football again. You saw the video of him shirtless dancing on top of the car. You hear some of the allegations of what he's still been up to. There are things in his life he needs to get straight before he can consider playing football. That's just the reality. And if you want to blame the Dolphins for not knowing that, go ahead. But, guys, as Kyle Krabs writes in Dolphins Wire, the Dolphins are not on the hook for a single cent. Like, they don't lose anything under the cap by cutting this guy. In all, the Dolphins swapped 2021 and 2022 seventh-round draft selections along with the exchanging of Wilson. But now that Wilson has been cut, the Dolphins' cap will reflect as though he was never in Miami in the first place. There will be no dead cap for 2021 or beyond, and Miami will recoup all of Wilson's scheduled 2021 salary of $1.1 million. The only lingering hint of the Isaiah Wilson gamble from Miami is that the team must wait 12 months for their seventh-round pick. The Titans will continue to hold Miami's 2021 selection as an initial part of the deal, a risk well worth taking for the potential reward, but a risk that fell short nonetheless. But for that reason, guys, I think it was a worthwhile gamble. Like I'm not going to blame Chris Greer for this. I'm going to blame Isaiah Wilson for this. I mean, he's the one who didn't show up to his onboarding, was late to a meeting already upon arriving, and then clearly his priorities in his life are not in order to be a professional football player right now. You could say the Dolphins should have known it. I'm saying the Dolphins gave up basically nothing to get him here. I think it was a gamble worth taking because the upside would have been, hey, you might get a starting caliber offensive tackle in this league for basically nothing, right? And it didn't work out, so you cut bait and you lose basically nothing in the process. Now, I'm going to say this. Not that it's the Dolphins' responsibility, but I hope that they're still trying to get him the help that he needs. Now, part of the reason why they cut him was they offered him help and he didn't take it. So Isaiah Wilson, unfortunately, may be one of those human tragedy stories where you see the warning signs and you offer an olive branch, you offer help to this guy, and he refuses it left and right. Like, I hope somebody can get through to him. And if the Dolphins are able to keep trying to get through to him, you know, Brian Flores has a personal connection with Isaiah Wilson. They went to the same high school, not at the same time, but they've got some coaches and connections in common from there. And I'm sure that they have, you know, from that Brooklyn area, that they have, you know, some common friends. You know, I hope that Flo and other people who have been involved in Isaiah Wilson's life are able to reach out to this guy and get him the help that he needs. I really hope that. It also makes you wonder how much stuff was swept under the rug while he was at Georgia. I mean, Georgia's pretty notorious for that, right? The allegations of dropping those duffel bags of money to recruits and you know, what they may do to cover things up in the Athens area. Because one thing about Isaiah Wilson is not a peep. You know, no one knows anything about him having any sort of issues, getting in any sort of trouble when he was at Georgia. I wonder if maybe Georgia is just that good at covering things up because they do have that reputation. But at the end of the day, I still think that the Isaiah Wilson trade was a worthwhile gamble because for the Dolphins, it was a no-risk move. No risk, high reward. Unfortunately, they're not going to get the high reward for him, but you can cut your losses and move on, okay? So I don't think that was a bad thing at all. Here's something that I loved that I saw this morning. I think this happened this morning, in fact. Ryan Fitzpatrick, new quarterback of the Washington football team. God, I miss this guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick, thank you. Thank you for publicly saying nice things about Tua Tagovailoa when even former teammates of Tua didn't have the balls to do that. Devontae Smith, no balls. Jalen Waddle, sans balls. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's saying nice things about Tua Tagovailoa. So he was on the Ross Tucker podcast today, or the Ross Tucker NFL, the Ross Tucker football podcast is the proper name of that show. And I'm sure Ross was trying to maybe bait him into saying, oh, yeah, that kid's not good. Like, I think he may have been looking for a response like that. But when asked about Tua, Fitzpatrick had nothing but nice things to say. He said it's amazing how much criticism and different things have been thrown his way. He said of Tua, it's very difficult to play quarterback in the NFL. I think we keep forgetting that fact. The guy was a rookie last year and came in and went 6-3. We have to have a little bit of patience. I think he's going to do great things. Fitzpatrick said two traits of Tua's game that impressed him from their season together as Dolphins quarterbacks were his elite accuracy and ability to throw with anticipation. He's going to learn from last year, said Fitz. He's going to learn through the offseason. He's got some continuity with George Godsey and Eric Studsville as co-offensive coordinators now. He's going to learn where to go with the ball, how to eliminate things pre-snap to really unleash that elite accuracy. And he throws with anticipation, and that is something you don't see a lot with quarterbacks coming from college to the NFL. So he says, and I love this, by the way. He says, I'm a huge Tua fan. My kids love Tua. He's got like 20 kids, so that's a lot of Tua fans out there. Sometimes they play with him on Madden. Sometimes they play with me, but I'm looking forward to big things from him. I think he's going to do great. Just in terms of being a leader or guys people can follow, he's got all those qualities. I think he just needs to have a little bit of – I think we just need to have a little bit of patience. He was a rookie last year. He's going to do great things. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a liar. I can't emphasize that enough. Fitzpatrick is the type where if he's got nothing nice to say, he's not going to say anything, right? Like he was asked a question about Tua. He could have easily said, no, I think Tua just needs to learn a little bit more. Like he could have kept the answer very brief, very polite without saying a whole lot. The fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick was glowing and went into that much detail when talking about the positives and the potential of Tua, I take that as a really good sign. He's not a smoke blower, Fitzpatrick. He's not going to go out of his way to say things he doesn't believe. I don't think he would have trashed him. Like I that would have shocked me. I mean, if Fitzpatrick would have said, yeah, you know what, I don't think this kid's got it. I think he's going to struggle. I would never have expected him to say something like that, but you would not have gotten this rave review if he didn't mean it. Because for a stand-up, honest guy like Fitz, he would have given you a really short answer or a non-answer. The fact that he volunteered this much information and went this far with heaping praise on Tua tells me that he really does believe that. And I love to hear it. And I'll throw a shout-out to Safid Dean from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel for writing about that interview and reviewing it for us. That, Fitz. I'm going to root for Fitz. You guys know me. I'm usually not that big on, like, rooting for players. But when it's a former player for a team that I love who is, I'm not a Washington football fan, nor am I going to be. But when Ryan Fitzpatrick is on the field, you bet your ass I'm going to root for the guy. What do you think, Alex? Are you going to miss Fitz at all? When you see him suiting up for WFT, you going to be rooting for him?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he was great in his role with the Dolphins. He was, at the end of the day, he was that bridge from, just being that mentor for Tua and to make that leap into his second year. Do I wish that the Dolphins re-signed him? Yeah, but I understand why they didn't, because you have to let Tua, go on his own in a way. Like sending your kid off to college in that type of way. Like he has to learn on his own. He can't have that safety net because then he's never going to learn. So I understand the move, but I'll be rooting for him. I think it was a great pickup by Washington. He's gonna do well though. He's gonna do well there, I think, for sure.
And Herman makes a good point. He's not even Tua's teammate anymore, so he doesn't have anything to gain. You're right, Alex. Yeah, I mean, again, like still. Even though he's not his teammate, I never would expect him to trash Tua.
He's a guy. He's a good guy.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy. But still, I think Herman's point is a good one, that it's not like Fitz has to toe the company. Like if he was still a Dolphin,
right? He had to
the directive would be you have to say something really nice about Tua.
Yeah.
Because he knows that if he didn't, he was going to get an earful from the PR people. He doesn't have to say anything nice about Tua. The fact that he went out of his way to do so, I think is awesome. Oh, Bromar Smelly was asking, what did Tua's former receivers say about him? I mean, I joked about Waddle and Devontae having no balls. They didn't say anything nasty about him, but what happened was, Bromar, both of them individually. For Devontae Smith, it happened like during the pre-draft process, so this one wasn't public. But a report said that Devontae Smith was asked if he, because remember, he caught passes from both, if he preferred Tua or Mac Jones. And the report said, without hesitation, he said Mac Jones. And then Jalen Waddle was on TV. I watched this interview. I watched it like 10 times to analyze his answer. But Jalen Waddle was on TV with Andrew Siciliano, and Siciliano asked him, I'm going to ask you the same question that they asked to Devontae Smith. Do you prefer Tua or Mac Jones? And he said without hesitation Mac Jones. So I rip on these guys a little bit. It does make me wonder, like, do they legitimately not like Tua as much, or are they just trying to promote Mac because Mac's about to be drafted, so they want to really pump him up? Like, is there an agenda here? I don't know, but I love I didn't love those answers, although and I will say that our guy Najee Harris has said really nice things about Tua. So I want to make him a Dolphin. I mean, hell, regardless of what he's saying about Tua, Najee Harris is a player that I covet. We can devalue the running back position all we want to, for good reason, because most running backs are finished by the time they get to their second deals. And if not then, most running backs by the time they hit 28 years old are on the downside. It's the most recyclable position in the National Football League. That doesn't mean you can't have truly special players at that position. And I think that Najee Harris, is one of those guys. I think Harris is one of the exceptions to the rule, kind of like his former teammate. I don't know if they played together, but his another former Alabama guy, Derrick Henry, the exception to that rule. I think Najee Harris could have a really special NFL career. I don't think you draft him at number 3. I don't think you would have to. But he might be there at number 18, right? If you keep your 18th overall pick, because I don't know which picks could be traded, if any of them. 3 might be traded down. 8, I think they'll probably keep 18, but maybe trade down from 3. So, like, let's say you trade down from 3, and number 8 comes up. God, you might think about drafting Harris there, or you hope he falls to 18. He would be an awesome addition to this team. You need fortifications at running back. He's got the built-in chemistry with Tua. You know, they played together at Bama. You could recreate some of that Bama magic. And Harris, I just think, is a thoroughbred. I would love that move. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Yeah, Bromar says, well, maybe because they had their best years with Jones, they didn't say anything negative about Tua. They didn't have the balls to defend him, though, Bromar. That's the issue I have. We got something really important, I think. We'll get to this later in the hour because we have Gabby Urrutia coming up. We have one of the most important updates ever in the history of this show. We're going to have a little bit later on this hour. But Gabby Urrutia will join us to talk some Miami Hurricanes next here on Onside Radio. Hey, Sundays, OnsideRadio.com continues to provide you the kind of sports talk South Florida fans desire. Every Sunday, 7 a.m., tune in to the Sunday Sports Drop with Jazz Santana. Catch Jazz every week as he takes your calls and discusses the biggest stories in sports. That's the Sunday Sports Drop, 7 to 9 a.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Enter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love. Including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat dropped their 3rd game in a row yesterday and 2nd game in a row against the Indiana Pacers in overtime 109-106. Miami is now 5th in the Eastern Conference and will be back on the court tomorrow night against the Phoenix Suns. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. at the AAA. The Florida Panthers lost a chance to close the gap for the Central Division lead after losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning yesterday 5-3. The Cats are now 2nd in the division and are 4 points behind Tampa. Next game for the Panthers is tomorrow on the road to play against the Chicago Blackhawks. Puck drops at 8 p.m. In the MLB, the Miami Marlins won in their spring training matchup today against the St. Louis Cardinals 7-2. Sandy Alcantara started the game for the Fish, pitching 4 2/3 innings and giving up 2 runs. NBA legend and Hall of Famer Elgin Baylor has passed away today at 86 years old of natural causes. Baylor was an 11-time NBA All-Star with the Los Angeles Lakers, playing alongside Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. With your Onside Sports update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad about neglecting Hurricanes football last week during the first week of spring practice. We've had so much going on with the Dolphins and the Heat. I didn't give the Canes enough burn last week, so we're going to start making up for that. Going to bring in our good pal Gabby Urrutia. Does an awesome job covering Miami and covering recruiting for InsideTheU.com. Gabby, good afternoon to you, man. How's your Monday treating you so far?
Man, Donna, I'm doing well. Nice start to the week. How's everything going with you?
Doing really well, and it sounds like things have been heating up in spring so far for Miami. I want to start, bro, with the area everybody's talking about, even though, we have a good idea who the starter is going to be at quarterback, assuming he gets healthy in time to start the season. It's the De'Ara King show when healthy. But, we look at the future of that position, Gabby. Tyler Van Dyke is getting a lot of praise so far in the spring. Is that warranted? Like, when you look at what Van Dyke and Jake Garcia are doing so far, what can you tell me about the battle for backup quarterback, which is also the battle for the future of the quarterback position at the U?
Yeah, I mean, everything coming out of Coral Gables just seems to indicate that Tyler Van Dyke is doing a good job. He's been in this program for over a year now, which, a lot of people may not realize. He was an early enrollee last year, so this is an offense. He's been in Rhett Lashley's offense just as long as De'Ara King has. He probably knows just as much of the offense as De'Ara King. So this is a guy that has a very strong grasp of the playbook, and is really just he was a blue chip talent coming out of the Connecticut area. Had a big arm, was mid-90s off the mound as a baseball player. So a supremely talented kid that's really getting a chance to showcase what he can do. When the unfortunate circumstance that De'Ara King has that ACL injury. But, it sounds like everything coming out of Coral Gables is that Tyler Van Dyke is really impressing some people.
So, I think down the road sometimes with these things, one of these guys, either Van Dyke or Garcia, who's behind, of course, as a true freshman, one of these guys are going to be the starting quarterback after King's time at Miami is done. You would expect whoever doesn't win the job could end up being a transfer down the road, right?
I mean, you never know. I mean, you look at the numbers with the quarterbacks, and you kind of, if you're, paying attention to the transfer portal, which has obviously become such a big part of the sport now, you kind of see how quarterbacks have, tended to move around. I mean, you look at Justin Fields, you look at, even you go back to Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. I mean, Oklahoma's made a living off transfer quarterbacks. And, it just seems like, that kind of tends to happen more at that position, or it's more, I guess, noteworthy at the position that a lot of guys seem to transfer. But it seems like, these guys are there to compete. Jake Garcia doesn't strike me as a guy that runs away from competition, So it's just one of those things you got to kind of just keep stacking the talent. You got to continue to bring in blue chip guys, and, you find your guy and you roll with it. And then you start kind of preparing to find the next one. And, sometimes that results in a guy transferring. Sometimes you have a Mac Jones situation where a guy's willing to wait his turn and, light everything up and make a big name, make himself some money, being patient and learning the offense. So I feel like it all kind of depends. But, yeah, I guess you do tend to see that more with quarterbacks.
A position I really look at because there was not enough consistency last year is wide receiver, right? I mean, way too much inconsistency, too many drops at that position. Yeah, we talk about transfers. I love Charleston Rambo coming in. I think that's going to make the position better. I do like Mike Harley, who's back. I'm seeing a lot of hype for Keyshawn Smith. What can you tell me about him and some of the other players at wide receiver? Who do you think could step up this year?
Yeah, Keyshawn Smith is he's definitely an intriguing case. He's a guy that, Miami might not have ever gotten on campus had Mike Leach not taken the Mississippi State job. He was a guy that signed his letter of intent with Washington State to go play for Leach. He ends up taking the Mississippi State job, and he gets out of that, lands at Miami without ever seeing the campus or without ever stepping foot. But he has, really just a high top-end speed. He's a really, really talented kid that's able to just go up, make plays. I've heard from, sources outside of, just like what we've heard at press conferences that Keyshawn Smith is absolutely the real deal.
Wow.
So I've heard really good things about the things that he's doing. Then you got, you kind of hope that Mark Pope, D. Wiggins, those guys are able to kind of take the next step. You got a Michael Redding type that, big body kid out of IMG Academy there that you kind of hope that, maybe he could kind of step up as a sophomore. And you got a couple other guys in the program, like even got the younger guys, Daslin Worsham out of Alabama, one time an Alabama commit, someone that the Crimson Tide kind of wanted even there. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Rob Likens continues to coach that room up. You got Xavier Restrepo too. So, there's definitely a lot of talent. And then you got the incoming freshmen that aren't even here on campus yet that really have an opportunity to step in and make some noise in that room because I think all three of those guys, Jacoby George, Rashard Smith, and Romello Brinson, all bring something to the table as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to integrate those guys in the offense as well.
Now, what about tight end? Because they're losing a really important player in Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan also not the most consistent guy at Miami with his injury history. I think Will Mallory, could have a huge year next year. And what about some of the youth at that position? Do you think the U is going to be in good hands at tight end?
Yeah, I think that's another interesting position just because, Will Mallory, who would be the most experienced tight end at the position, he's out for spring. So I think that gives the opportunity for guys like Larry Hodges, Dominic Mammarelli. Neither one of those guys, have a whole ton of experience, but Hodges, I would say, would have the most. Then you got Elijah Arroyo coming in out of Texas. And, man, I would encourage you to turn on that high school highlight tape and, what he did his senior year because that'll leave you pretty encouraged about what the future of the tight end position is for Miami. Just a 6'4", true pass catching tight end that really looks like a receiver out there. The way that he moves and the way he goes at it. So I think it's a good opportunity for him to kind of acclimate himself to the college game while also potentially being able to earn himself a role in this offense. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see Arroyo really start to emerge and maybe him be a factor in the offense early on.
And we're joined here by Gabby Urrutia from InsideTheU.com. And Gabby not only does a great job covering the present of the program, but also the future, does a really good job with recruiting. What are some of the key recruits you've got an eye on right now? Because the class of 2022 is really going to be heating up here. Any players we should be looking out for?
Oh, yeah. There's one of Miami's top quarterback target is actually making a decision on Friday. Valdosta Lowndes quarterback Ja'Curry Brown, a 4-star out of the South Georgia area. Miami actually signed one of his teammates, Thomas Davis, this last year. He's making his decision early Friday morning. I think it's like at 9:30 on CBS Sports HQ, so you can stream that live, with us here at 24/7 Sports that we're partnered with CBS. And Miami's hoping to get some good news there. So, the Hurricanes only have one commit currently in that class of 2022. Ja'Curry Brown could potentially get the ball rolling there. He was actually on campus this weekend, flew down. He did a self-guided tour. He couldn't make it. He couldn't meet face-to-face with any of the coaches due to the, restrictions in place due to the dead period with the pandemic and all of that. But, he flew down on his own alongside wide receiver Isaiah Bond, another Georgia kid out of that Buford program that Jess Simpson won so many state titles at. And they're both in the area checking it out just, shortly before Brown is set to make a decision. So good news could be coming. Miami could have their quarterback nice and early in this class. And, so that would definitely be something to keep an eye out if you're into the recruiting thing, because he's probably going to be the face of the class potentially.
I love it. And Gabby, my rule on the show, for people who don't know, I've made this clear on a few occasions. I will not allow any Manny Diaz slander until September at the earliest, because for right now, and I'm not going to dwell on the past of, what happened against FIU a couple years ago and North Carolina last year. If I just focus on the offseason, I feel Manny is answering all the most important questions. He's addressed the defense. He's addressed transfer portal, recruiting in a nice way. Do you agree with me that, the past is the past? I'm not going to allow any Manny Diaz slander until the regular season. If things go south in the regular season, then we can reevaluate the rule.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much anyone could really say about what Manny Diaz does. I feel like, fans have requested, like when he first got here, requested a whole restructuring of the offensive staff. He did that. The defense, didn't live up to the expectations this year. He put it on himself to become the defensive coordinator again and, kind of take full responsibility for that. He's worked the transfer portal as well as anybody. Brought in a lot of help, got some much needed talent. I mean, Tyreek Stevenson was just absolutely huge. And, that's all just, a part of the plan and how they're planning to do things. So I think it's very fair to keep the Manny Diaz slander to a minimum, because I really think that he really has his heart in trying to, fix this program and get it right. I believe he has a plan. And, on the recruiting trail, he's doing a good job. It seems like on Green Tree, he's doing a good job. And from my understanding, the players are fully bought into his defense and are happy to kind of have him back and fully, involved in what they're doing on that side of the ball.
Well, keep kicking ass out there, man. You guys can follow Gabby Urrutia on Twitter at Gabby Urrutia 24/7, 247 that is, and follow him at 24/7 Sports and InsideTheU.com. Gabby, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Absolutely, Donald. Thank you so much for having me.
Really good insight there by Gabby. I love it. I absolutely love it. And, wow, people on the text line, they're appreciating the Canes talk. I apologize, man. We talked a little bit about the Canes last week. We didn't completely neglect the Canes, but not as much as we should have with spring practice going on. So we're rectifying that problem this week, because I know we want to have some more folks on. Gabby does a tremendous job. We're going to have some more people on as well throughout the week to talk some Canes football for some spring updates. God, the pain. I had Oklahoma plus 15.5. They lost by 16. Vegas are so good at what they do. I mean, that spread, man. Both sides are sweating it out until there was a stupid flagrant foul committed by Oklahoma that cost me that cover. But, I mean, whether you bet on Gonzaga minus 15.5 or Oklahoma in the plus, sweating it out until the last couple of seconds of that game. Vegas is so good at these point spreads. It is absurd. All right, we'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour when we come back. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnSideRadio.com, because every week you can keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. Catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
If I'm cooking for a girl, then I'm not cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So I keep seeing these videos turn up of these so-called spring breakers on South Beach. It's anarchy out there. This is insane. And I want the internet bros to stop blaming actual Floridians like me and Alex and Tito for this kind of stuff. I guarantee you most of the people out there wreaking havoc on South Beach are not from the area and probably not even from this state. It's very disrespectful what they're doing out there. I mean, it's some serious stuff. I've heard reports of like violent crimes being committed, which is terrible in any context, and it's absolute anarchy out there. I was a little bit entertained, though, about that video of the guy who was wearing the full Joker makeup, shirtless, waving the American flag, talking about how COVID was over, and I couldn't get – he was like the Joker, but he had a really excellent tan. I mean, I guess it's that spring break on South Beach. But, you know, not only is there still a pandemic going on, I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that. You guys know I'm being careful, and I don't advocate going out there and doing what these people are doing. But why trash my city, you lowlifes? You know what I want to do? When I see all these people leaving their disgusting garbage and their debris and wreaking havoc in my area code, I want to find out every shit town that each of you people live in that you came down here from, and then I will travel to each of your towns and I will leave garbage all over the place. I will urinate on your buildings. I will leave beer bottles, cigarettes, fast food wrappers. Let me cover your towns in litter and filth the way you've done to mine. Oh, what, you came here from Peoria, Illinois? I'm on the next plane to Peoria. I'm going to leave crap all over your town the way you did to mine. Oh, you're from Hillville, Virginia? I'm on the next bus to Hillville. I'm going to pee all over the side of your buildings the way you did to mine. Okay, I don't understand how, like, and I went on a spring break trip one time, and it was kind of a freak show. We went over to the Bahamas, a big group of people. I felt a little bit like I was sold false advertising because there was like a promise of like a hotel full of beautiful women. It was a sausage fest. Like we went down there. It was 90% dudes who took this spring break trip. It was like the biggest disappointment ever. And yeah, people were disrespectful to Freeport. You know, but I hate the idea of, you know, you go down on vacation to, you know, a beautiful place. Now, beautiful, it comes with a price because South Beach is very overpriced. I believe it's overhyped these days, and it's become a tourist trap, which is unfortunate. But these tourists come down there, and they treat it like absolute filth, and it's just disgusting. Like, how would you like it if I went to your town and just left garbage and debris and committed heinous crimes in your town? You wouldn't like it very much, would you? You don't forget, people live there. People have responsibilities there. There are people who have to clean up your mess. There are people who have to live in it. I do not like what's been happening to South Beach. And, you know, I know people are worried now that similar things may happen in Fort Lauderdale because they've got their spring break coming up. God, I hope not. But just be kind and be respectful. Like, I know a lot of you have been cooped up for the better part of the last year. Let's also not forget that there still is COVID. Like, I don't care what the Joker said with waving his American flag. we're not out of it completely yet, okay? So be careful, but also be respectful. I do not like the way people are treating Miami Beach. It upsets me every time I see these viral videos on social media. It makes me feel very defensive of my area code here, the 305. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. Oh, we got more people checking in on the YouTube live stream. We'll send some shout-outs when we come back. 5 o'clock hour coming your way. Hey, Sundays at 9 a.m., Juan Cardona dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida team, tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys until 6 here on OnsideRadio.com. We take you up until 6 o'clock. That's when Michael Christian takes over for game night, 6 to 7 o'clock every weeknight here on Onside Radio. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. Hope you watched as much March Madness, as much international soccer. I watched a little UFC over the weekend. Had our guy, Tony, 2 times, was in the YouTube chat earlier, commenting on the main event of the UFC event on ESPN over the weekend. Kevin Holland fights so dumb. I bet on Derek Brunson, his opponent, and I'm glad I did. Game planning and fight IQ are still so important in the UFC. I hope people realize how important that stuff is, because Kevin Holland, who ended up losing the fight, more talented fighter, more lethal striker, if he had taken the fight seriously, he would have won it relatively easily. But he cared more about, dancing before the fight, trash talking, smiling. He kept trying to get Khabib Nurmagomedov's attention, and he's talking to Dana White, and he's talking to Khabib. It was so bizarre because Kevin Holland did not look like he cared whatsoever about the fact that he was in a fight. Like, he was just there to, enjoy himself and talk trash. It's so bizarre. It's like, dude, you get paid, 6 figures, and if you get really good, you'll get into the 7-8 figure territory. But you get paid, 6 figures per fight to go in there and try and win and climb up the ladder in the UFC. And instead, all you care about is running your mouth and bringing no strategy whatsoever into the fight. If he had even 80% focus, he would have cruised to victory against Derek Brunson. He's the better fighter. He's the more gifted athlete. But Derek Brunson was taking it seriously, had a game plan, was landing takedowns repeatedly, outworked Kevin Holland for 5 rounds, and rightfully got his hand raised. And I give credit to our guy, Lee Sterling, and I certainly agreed with him. He didn't have to win me over on this, but Lee Sterling, our gambling expert, joins us on Fridays, and that was one of his preferred picks for the weekend, was Derek Brunson over Kevin Holland in the UFC main event, despite the fact that, Kevin Holland was the sizable favorite, was close to a 2-1 favorite in the fight. Certainly had the talent to get it done. But Brunson was just so much more focused, so much higher fight IQ, and actually had a game plan in the fight when Kevin Holland had none. So these things are so important, man. It's not just when you're sizing up. And I think that this probably, and it certainly applies to boxing as well, but I think it applies even more into mixed martial arts because there are so many different things you have to defend, right? You know, I'm not saying that boxing is something you can simplify, but you have a better idea of where the attacks are coming from. They're coming from your opponent's hands. Whereas in the UFC, you're thinking about kicks, you're thinking about takedowns, you're thinking about elbows and knees. And so if you don't approach a fight mentally properly, you're going to be completely thrown for a loop the way that Kevin Holland was. You need to have a game plan. You have to put you certainly have to put a lot of criticism to his coaches as well. But Kevin Holland was not mentally ready for that fight, and he paid the price for it. So I'm happy to see hard work rewarded. I mean, I love rooting for talented fighters. Like I think the most talented fighter God ever made is John Bones Jones, who's had an incredible career, but could have had an even more incredible career to this point if he didn't have, as many troubles outside of the cage and could keep himself out of trouble, would probably have even more wins and more money than he has at this point. He hasn't sabotaged himself to the point where he hasn't been winning fights, but you imagine what might have been. And I don't want to see a guy like Kevin Holland sabotage himself through poor preparation and poor fight IQ. So I love watching hard work rewarded. You want to text us, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Kenneth Cleveland is on board. He writes, "Good afternoon, Donno. Kenneth Cleveland is live from the Boom Boom Room. The lovely ladies Hallie, Selma, Sophia, Paige, Charlize, and Beyonce say we will not allow any Manny Diaz slander in the Boom Boom Room." He says Manny Diaz slander and the Boom Boom Room will not be tolerated, and you will not be allowed in. I love that. Our guy Mike No-Go Zones, who just came back within the last week or two from Afghanistan, filming his series over there. He says, "I used to live in South Beach. I am devastated by what's happening there." And that's the thing. People forget that there are locals there. I feel so bad for them. Like, these tourists come over and they treat South Beach like a dumpster. Like, and even somebody like me, like I live a good 45 minutes away from South Beach. So it's easy for me to just kind of pretend that South Beach is this overpriced, mythical place that I don't go to very often. There are actually people who live in Miami Beach, and their home has been treated like a toilet for the last week. I feel so bad for those people. Like I feel so bad that their home has become like a war zone. Like you got to have police curfews, and they're closing the Clevelander. It's easy for me to be out of sight, out of mind on South Beach. I don't have to go to South Beach if I don't want to. I live in Kendall. There's nothing that compels me to go there if I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going there this week. But for the people who actually live there, I feel awful for them. Mike says, "Let's stop calling them spring breakers. These are hooligans." Yeah, I mean, listen, whatever you want to call them. I mean, they may be here on spring break. They may not be. They may just want to come up here and bleep it up. I don't know. Yeah, Bromar Smelly says, "Are those college kids?" I don't know, man. I know that they're there under the guise of spring break. So whatever it is, it's just it's been a rough scene over there, man. Oh, I hope the Miami Heat can acquire Kyle Lowry. I think it's a necessary move. One thing people worry about losing the shooting if you were to give up Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero. Lowry this year hitting 39.4% of his three-pointers. Robinson hitting 38% of his. Tyler Hero hitting 36% of his. Our friend Brady Hawk from the 5 Reasons Sports Network gave some good reasons why Lowry can absolutely make this team better, even at 35 years old. Okay, the Heat are 22nd in the NBA in points per possession in isolation, he writes, while being 3rd in points per possession off a screen. Now, that stat basically screams the lack of a guy who can create for himself to just get a bucket. Very well said. You don't have enough legitimate shot creators. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo cannot do everything. And obviously Jimmy is the guy you want it in the hands of in the clutch down the stretch in games. But to be able to have another option like Kyle Lowry who can create and can score in the clutch would be invaluable for this team. Brady writes, here we are again talking about shooting, except this time it's being discussed in a positive manner since Lowry has been having a good year shooting from beyond the arc, damn near 40%. I'd say a great year. He can be trusted to hit some catch-and-shoot triples as seen in the video clip above. He put videos in his story as well. But more importantly, the break threes are the major addition. Those three balls have gone from a major strength to a major weakness for the Miami Heat, which is halted even more with the limited offensive options that I discussed earlier. Even when discussing a lot of the Heat shooters during their hot stretches, they still create issues in other areas of the game. But Lowry brings a defensive presence, a trusted playmaking ability, and the primary element, a nightly closer. Some people might say, what's even the point of giving up a younger asset for Lowry at 35 when you're not going to beat Brooklyn and win the East anyway? I guess you can look at it that way. First of all, I think Lowry, he's in a contract year, but I think if he was acquired by the Heat, he would re-up here on a short-term deal. So he'd be here longer than, a third of a season or whatever we have left. That's number one. I think he still has a couple of good years left in the tank, and I at least want to compete, right? I'm not convinced, like some of you, that Tyler Hero is going to be as great as you think. I think with some of these young players, we start to fall in the trap of assuming all of these guys are going to be perennial all-stars. I saw people doing that with Justice Winslow. Hell, you can go back 15 years. I saw people doing it with Darrell Wright after the Heat drafted him. And now you're doing it with Tyler Hero. Ira Winderman asked the question, is Tyler Hero's ceiling perennial all-star, or is his ceiling really good player, good six-man type? I think it's probably closer to the latter. I think one of the advantages you get when you do draft well, when you get a player like Tyler Hero, it's not only the option of Hero's potential 5-10 years down the road, well, not 10, but 3 to 5 years down the road, but also being able to turn that around into a trade chip to get a better, more proven player, which Lowry is. I think Lowry makes this team a lot better. For as uneven of a season as the Heat are having right now, they are the 5 seed, which is not catastrophic coming out of a 3-game losing streak, although they're only 1 game above number 8, so they're kind of teetering on the brink here a little bit. The East there's a lot of parity and a lot of mediocrity in the Eastern Conference, so there's a lot of things still up for grabs there. But the 3 seed is virtually unattainable at this point, but the 4 is absolutely attainable. The Heat were in that before this losing streak. I think that's what you need to shoot for, and then give yourself a puncher's chance in the playoffs, because even if it's not in a bubble this year, I still think this Heat team, or a close facsimile thereof, if you were to make this team even better with Kyle Lowry, could be able, with good coaching under Spoelstra, to punch above their weight in the postseason. And Lowry, I think, would give them a better puncher's chance to do that. So I hope he is acquired. Ira Winderman talked about what it would take to get Lowry. He says, to get the equation to work for Lowry, the equation being the money, it likely would involve an intriguing younger player, perhaps Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson, and ample salaries to match. That math would figure to start with some combination of Goran Dragic and his $18 million. That would not be my preferred player to trade, just so you know. Andre Iguodala at $15 million, Kelly Olynyk at $12.6 million. All 3 of those deals are expiring contracts with Dragic's trade permission needed because of the structure of his contract. Now, out of those 3, it would be very easy for me to say goodbye to Andre Iguodala. Would be a little bit tougher, but not that tough to say goodbye to Kelly Olynyk. But I would love to keep Goran Dragic. I think having both Dragic and Lowry would be a nice luxury. So Ira also talked about the possibility of getting LaMarcus Aldridge, which would more than likely, if he was going to come here, it would be a buyout. You're not going to trade a younger piece for him and his $24 million contract, nor should you. I think that would be dumb. I could at least argue doing it for Kyle Lowry. I could not argue doing that for LaMarcus Aldridge. So that's where the Heat are at. Bottom line is, we were asking the question after the Trevor Ariza deal 8 or 9 days ago, if the Heat were done making deals. The trade deadline is coming up on Thursday, 3 days away. And the answer, no, I don't think they're done. I think there's another move that's going to happen before the deadline. And just so you know, the trade deadline is Thursday. The deal to make a buyout move, which could be LaMarcus Aldridge, could happen as late as April 9th. So you would have more time to add a player off a buyout than you would a player off of a conventional trade, which would potentially be Kyle Lowry if they can get it done within the next 72 hours. I think it's ridiculous that people are starting this conspiracy theory that Solomon Hill injured LeBron James on purpose. The guy was making an effort play diving for a loose ball. Yeah, and I hear Alex Aguirre saying that's his game. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
No. I want you to add your thought into it. You're absolutely right.
I saw the video on Instagram, and it's anything for LeBron James. That's what it seems like. They'll make any excuse for him.
Yeah.
And just to he's always in the right. And that's not fair. You can easily tell that Solomon Hill is just going for the ball. Yep. And then the bodies got tangled up going for a loose ball. That happens.
What he did, you can't do that on purpose. He reverse rolled his ankle, because usually to roll the ankle you would roll from the inside of the leg, not the outside of the leg. You don't plan for that. That can't be done on purpose.
And Hill's game is a 3-and-D player. He's one of those blue collar type of perimeter players.
Yep.
He's been that way his whole career. So he's not one of he's been in the league for a long time. If you know the way he plays, that's his style. Just rough and rumble, just going after loose balls. He was like that with the Heat when he was on the floor as well. That's his game. It is what it is. And mistakes like that happen. I highly doubt Solomon Hill was going after LeBron James like that. No.
I mean, he got to the point where he was getting accused by so many people, including Montrezl Harrell, and then fans were getting on it. He had to release an Instagram statement saying he didn't do it on purpose.
That's ridiculous.
I kind of wish he didn't say anything, because
right.
Nothing should be said there. The hero worship of LeBron James has gotten so out of control that you have these tinfoil hat-wearing fanboys who would think anytime something happens to him, oh, it's got to be a grand conspiracy. Some of our fans were guilty of it as well. You remember in San Antonio, 2014 finals, when the air condition broke and he cramped up?
Yep.
No, guys, no, they didn't do that on purpose. The air conditioning broke. And by the way, there were, 30 other players who didn't cramp up. LeBron was the only guy who cramped. I didn't see any Spurs cramping up. Is air conditioning LeBron James's kryptonite? Oh my, there's only one guy who's good. If we turn off the AC, we found LeBron's kryptonite. That is how you neutralize LeBron. If they were going to shut off the AC on purpose, that could have theoretically affected any of their players. It also made it miserable for their fans. I know they didn't want to do that. I mean, you had 20,000 Spurs fans in that arena. They didn't want to piss off their own fan base by turning off the AC. The lengths that people will go for the hero worship of LeBron James. Oh, I love what's happening on the YouTube chat. La Fraud James. La Drama. The fans make it worse. LeBron fanboys, Cristiano Ronaldo fanboys, Messi fanboys. A very special breed. The hero worship. They're human beings. I mean, do you remember when there was all that hero worship for Tiger Woods, and then you found out, the guy's got 30 mistresses? Now, I feel bad for Tiger with what he went through with that awful accident, so I don't want to trash Tiger too much right now, because I want to wish him a speedy recovery. That was horrific what he went through recently. I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who worship Deshaun Watson. You see what he's going through right now. They're all human beings, man. I mean, you need to keep it easy. These are not demigods. These are flawed human beings. You need to settle the hero worship down a little bit. La Drama. I love that. And, man, our guy, Mike No-Go Zones, who was looking at what was happening in South Beach, I mean, he's been to places like Kabul, Damascus. So Kabul in Afghanistan, Damascus in Syria, and Detroit were more calm than what was happening on South Beach this past week. Oh, be respectful, guys. Spring breakers or what? Just try and be respectful when you're out and about at different places. All right, I still have to get to that really important update that I teased. This is something that every human being needs to listen to. I know that a lot of folks were really happy last week that you got your little $1,400 stimulus. I was happy to get the stimulus. I was not all that happy about like the devaluing of the U.S. dollar. However, I got to say, you guys are ignoring the best thing to come from that stimulus package. No matter what side of the aisle you're on. I'm not on either side. I'm all over the place, man. I'm a registered libertarian. I think blue on a lot of things. I think red on a few things. I don't tie myself to either of the major political parties. I know that there are a lot of reasons why people complained about that economic stimulus. What was it, $1.9 trillion? You're ignoring the amazing thing to come out of that. There is something here I believe makes every $1.9 trillion well spent. The least reported part of the stimulus deal, which I think benefits humanity greatly. I will get to that on the other side. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now, wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So, this is crazy. Apparently part of that $1.9 trillion relief bill, which included, the $1,400 checks that everyone has been getting. I'm just so bitter because, Alex, when I got my $1,400, I had to spend 80% of it on a new dishwasher. It's the freaking worst, man. It's like I wanted a little mad money, right? Like I wanted to invest in my happiness instead.
Some play money.
Yeah. Instead, I just end up having to invest in my home, right? I mean, I offered to my wife, I'll wash every dish by hand. She knew I was lying, though, was the thing. I said, hey, if I can buy something fun, got these PlayStation 5s out there. If I could buy something fun, I'll wash all the dishes by hand. She called shenanigans on that, and rightfully so. It's still hard to get these PlayStation 5s, yes? Like, out of curiosity, before my stimulus hit, before I knew I had to buy a new dishwasher, like a week or so ago, I went on to Amazon and I went on like a few different online shops like BestBuy.com, like to to kind of see how much these PlayStation 5s were running for. Out of stock everywhere, and then you can find, like, on eBay, you can find people selling them for like $1,500. Honestly, how desperate do you have to be to pay 3 times the price for a PlayStation 5? Like, anybody who's willing to do that, I want to sit you down and, like, talk about your priorities. Like, seriously, open up a savings account, buy some crypto, buy some stonks, like, do something constructive with that money. Like, if you presented me the choice of, hey, in a few months, you'll be able to walk into a store and buy this for $500, or you can buy it online right now for $1,500. No, thank you. Like, I don't. How are there people so desperate they're willing to pay like 3 times the amount to get one of these things? It could never be me. All right, could never be me. But there's still such a difficult demand and not enough supply for these PlayStation 5s. Do you think I would have an easier time as, a 36-year-old healthy person with no pre-existing conditions? Would it be easier for me this week to get a vaccine or a PlayStation 5? Like, honestly, I think it would be easier for me to get vaccinated. Now, I'm going to. I am a pro-vaxxer, just so you know. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I'm actually a little jealous of some of the people I know, because I thought this was like a senior citizen thing right now. I know, like, college kids getting vaxxed. Like, what the? I feel a little jealous. I think what it is, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. You're able to get on, like, waiting lists, because sometimes they have extra doses because there's a shelf life on these things. So if you get yourself on a waiting list, sometimes they have extra doses and you can acquire one even if you're not a senior or asthmatic or something, because there are certain conditions like asthma where they let you jump to the front of the line. But I do know, like, healthy people in their 20s and 30s who are getting vaccinated. I'm a little bit jealous. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm going to get mine as soon as I can. I guess I need to be hustling and busting my ass to get on one of these waiting lists. Have you tried doing that, Alex? Have you tried to get on one of these lists, or are you just chilling for right now?
Right now, I'm chilling, but I actually spoke about this with my girlfriend over the weekend, and she showed me, like, a post on Instagram of, like, saying that people like 25 and above, because they're going by, like, age, like younger and younger and younger. So 25 and above can get vaccinated on April 12th.
Really?
Yeah, I saw. Like, I'll send you the post, and maybe we can put it on the Onside Radio Twitter as well. I'll tell her to send it to me, so maybe we can share it out to everyone listening as well. Yeah, and it was like a post that had, like, like an age and then, like, the date of when you can get vaccinated. And the one that I obviously paid attention to was a 25 and over.
Yeah, sure.
Over one. My buddy, actually, he's the same age as me. Him and his girlfriend were able to get vaccinated. Because, like, what you were talking about, that some locations, I think this was in Jackson Hospital, that, they just have, like, at the end of the day, like, the leftovers, if you want to call it. And they found out about that. They showed up. Some people didn't go to their appointment that day, so they took their spot, and they were able to get vaccinated. This was about a week and a half ago now.
Okay. See, like, my thing, though, is I still, even if I got on one of those, like, waiting lists, I still would feel like I might be taking a dose away from somebody who needs it more than I do.
Same. I think
because the thing is, like, okay, so even if, like, okay, so if somebody who's 80 cancels their appointment and then they pull up the waiting list, how do I know that I need, like, if I'm on the waiting list and there are, like, 12 other people on the list, how do I know that, like, the 11 other people don't need it more than I do? Because, I mean, chances are I'd hopefully, statistically, I'd be okay. Like, there are no guarantees in life. Like, I respect and fear this virus enough. I do not want it, right? But statistically, I've got a better shot than I don't know if most, but statistically, I've got a better shot than a lot of people. So I don't, even on a waiting list, I don't know if I want to, like, because what if, I'm 36. What if there's somebody who's, like, 50 who's on the waiting list who has, like, a crappy lung and they need it more than I do? I don't necessarily want to take it away from that person. I got off on a little bit of a tangent here. So apparently, and I just learned this morning, part of the $1.9 billion relief package, it wasn't only the checks that we got. Like, there was more to it than sending every American, $1,400. Part of the agreement was the Pentagon has to tell us everything they know about UFOs, that was somehow part of this agreement. It's crazy. A forthcoming government report will reveal evidence of UFOs breaking the sound barrier without a sonic boom or, quote, difficult to explain phenomena, the former director of national intelligence said. John Radcliffe, the top intelligence officer under former President Donald Trump, was asked about the incidents involving unidentified flying objects on Fox News Friday. He said, quote, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public, he told host Maria Bartiromo. Some of these have been declassified, he said. And when we talk about sightings, he continued, we are talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain. Baker Mayfield should feel vindicated. I mean, anybody who was trashing Baker, oh, he's seeing things, he's drinking too much outside Lake Travis. No. You know what Baker Mayfield saw? He saw the truth. He saw the truth that people are trying to hide. Some commentary here from Barstool. This is actually incredible. It's finally happening. I never thought we'd see this day in my entire life. No, not the aliens. We all knew aliens existed. You'd have to be a complete moron to not believe in the entire vastness of the universe or even multiple universes that there would be nothing else besides us. No, what I'm talking about is the government actually following through on a promise. They said we'd get information about aliens with the stimulus checks. First, I thought they'd get 0 things passed, and now it appears that we are getting both. Unbelievable. Here is what they're reportedly telling us, according to this article. Quote, movements that are hard to replicate that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. A new Pentagon report will also detail any threats posed by the aerial phenomena and whether foreign adversaries are suspected of controlling them. Weather can cause disturbances, visual disturbances, Ratcliffe said. Quote, sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a bit further down the road than we thought or than we realize. But these are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. Wow. I just hope the aliens are nice. Thing is, if they have these technologies, if they can break the sound barrier without a sonic boom, and just to get here, because just to get over here, they've got to be bending time and space in some way. Because if you are to believe that they live certain distances that would take years, if not decades, if not centuries to travel to and from, if they can break the speed of light or find wormholes or something they're getting here in shorter periods of time, they have technology we cannot compete with. Do not make them angry. We want the aliens to be our friends. We want them to observe us like we're ants in an ant farm, but if they start stepping on us, we're in big trouble. That's one of the fears. That was one of the fears that, what was the, Stephen Hawking, before he passed away. One of Stephen Hawking's big fears was that, you know, if the aliens were to find us, and maybe they found us already, that it would be like a Christopher Columbus scenario. Because, you know, Christopher Columbus committed atrocities when he came to the quote-unquote New World. And, you know, the reason why he committed those atrocities were, unfortunately, he didn't view the indigenous peoples as, like, human beings. Like, he treated them as if they were ants, which is awful, and it's unfathomable. But, like, he didn't give them respect like they were his peers and human beings. So it was easy to commit those atrocities. You would have to hope that if these super intelligent aliens find us, that they're not going to look at us like we are just ants running on the street, and that they don't care who they step on and whose lives they ruin. I hope the aliens are nice and they respect us enough to respect our right to live. So this is crazy. Bromar Smelly says, I think UFOs are government projects. Why are most sightings in the Southwest USA? Where is Area 51 located? That's definitely one of my theories. You're right about that. They're working on some crazy stuff in these U.S. government bases. They may have technology there that is like so on the hush-hush because they don't want the Russians to know about it. They don't want the Chinese to know about it. And they keep it secret from the American people as well. I do certainly wonder that because you're right. A lot of these sightings. Now, part of that theory, though, Bromar, is that the reason why you see this stuff on Area 51 is that's where they take the alien debris and we reverse engineer it or we test it out. So that could be alien technology that gets taken to those bases to study and that gets tested out over there. So that theory could lead in either direction. They definitely bend the fabric of reality, Tony writes. There's so many dimensions that we can't comprehend. They're here, baby. They're here. I don't know if that's a good thing, for all that we say about it, it's hard to believe we're alone in the universe. I kind of wish we are. I don't know what the other beings are going to be like. I feel like I'm nice. I don't know if the aliens are nice. They may think I'm an asshole. I don't know. Like how nice, like relative to me, they may be way nicer than I am. So this is crazy. The Pentagon is fessing up. I got to tell you, that's the best thing to come out of the stimulus. I think the information about UFOs to me is more valuable than the $1,400 I received. I respect every second of this. All right, so we're going to continue on until 6 o'clock. That's what time our pal Michael Christian is going to join us. By the way, Kurt is on Twitter. He saw me mention that as soon as I got my stimulus check, I had to buy a new dishwasher. He said, let me guess, the dishwasher was on sale for $1,400. That would be so something these stores would do. Oh, wait, you got $1,400 in your pocket? What a coincidence. That's the exact price of this new bottle of Bosch dishwasher. Oh, man. It's crazy, though, because once you added the sales tax and the delivery fees, it ended up being $1,200 and some. Like I've got enough stimulus left over for like a cheap steak dinner, like not even like a good steak dinner. Like they're going to end up overcooking my steak probably with the money that I'm going to have to spend on the steak dinner that I'm going to get out of this. This is absolutely wild. 844-416-8123 is how you get in on the text line. 844-416-8123. We'll read some of the latest on the allegations against Deshaun Watson. It's too many to completely ignore it. You can't. When it was one allegation, sweep it under the rug if you wanted to. We're up to 22 now, guys. This is getting to be this is a big problem, I think, for Deshaun Watson. You're listening to the Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home every Saturday morning as Cats insider David Dwork hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
The Man of the Match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The sport is headed in a direction where it's going to die because the fan base is dying. It's people my age or older that follow baseball. And we're dying. And so they're not getting any of the new fans. Young fans, the whole sport is all screwed up, dude. From the cheating scandals to the way they mismanage it, by the way, the way it has not gone and changed with modern times, the fact that baseball players are so freaking ignorant that they don't understand that they've got to market their own game. The wussiest thing in the world is you hit a home run on me, so now I'm going to plunk you. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Marlins won in their spring training matchup today against the St. Louis Cardinals, 7-2. Sandy Alcantara started the game for the Fish, pitching 4 2/3 innings and giving up 2 runs. Florida Panthers lost a chance to close the gap for the Central Division lead after closing to the Tampa Bay Lightning yesterday 5-3. The Cats are now second in the division and are 4 points behind Tampa. The next game for the Panthers is tomorrow on the road to play against the Chicago Blackhawks. Puck drops at 8 p.m. The Miami Heat dropped their 3rd game in a row yesterday and 2nd game in a row against the Indiana Pacers in overtime 109-106. Miami is now 5th in the Eastern Conference and will be back on the court tomorrow night against the Phoenix Suns. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. at the AAA. And some updates in March Madness. Gonzaga is moving on after beating Oklahoma 87-71. And the matchup between UCLA and Abilene Christian is underway, with the Bruins having an early lead at 22-12. With your Onside Sports update, I'm Alex Aguirre. And coming up next is more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
In less than 20 minutes, Michael Christian is going to take over for Game Night. He's on 6 to 7 o'clock. Does a fantastic job every night here on OnsideRadio.com. Before I get into the latest on Deshaun Watson, it's like several more lawsuits every day filed against this guy. But before I get to that, am I the only Dolphin fan who's a little bit less gung-ho about the idea of Devontae Smith than I was, a couple months ago during and right after the national title game? I feel like the Heisman Trophy he won and then the national championship game, it was almost like a magic spell was cast over you. Like you become so in love with what he's doing, the recency bias of it. I'm not saying it would be a terrible pick. If the Dolphins were to draft Devontae Smith at number 3, assuming they even keep the 3rd pick, but if they drafted Devontae Smith, yeah, I would talk myself into it being a great idea. I would be gung-ho about it. I'd be really optimistic. Oh, look how talented he is. Look at that. Look at the rapport he had with Tua. He caught that ridiculous pass that Tua threw as a freshman in the national championship game. I wouldn't be angry about it, but I'd rather have Jamar Chase. I'd rather have Kyle Pitts. And I'd almost kind of rather trade lower. If you trade out of the top 5, Jalen Waddle would be really, really nice. I don't know. There's something, I'm just not as enamored with Devontae Smith as I was 2 months ago. And I think the only explanation I can give is it's like the siren song. You see the guy win a Heisman, you see him win the national title game, and you get so in love with what he's doing at that moment, and then you detach yourself from it a little bit. And I don't have quite the same enthusiasm. And here's another piece of that. So Devontae Smith had his virtual pro day today. I kind of hate that, by the way. Like, we can't find a way to get some people safely at a pro day, so socially distance, I don't know. So we have to have virtual pro days still. He had that today. And he was asked about his weight. Because people, since it's a virtual pro day, you can't actually watch him get on the scale. You have to take his word for it. But I would assume he's being honest about this. He might have fudged it by a pound or two. I don't know. But Devontae Smith was asked about his weight, and he said he weighs 170 pounds. That's 5 pounds fewer than his measurements were listed at Alabama last year. Quote, I feel like it's not going to be any different than college, he said about playing in the NFL at his size. I've played in the SEC. I feel like it's the toughest conference there is. I know a lot of people that are bigger than me that have more problems than me, so I'm not worried about it at all, he said. And maybe he's right, but I still think it's a little bit of a risk. I still think somebody that slight of frame, that's the one worry I have about Devontae Smith, by the way. Impeccable route runner, sure-handed, very intelligent, very good at what he does. I just worry about that 170-pound frame. I do. He was asked about his weight. Safid Dean from the Sun Sentinel wrote this piece, by the way. He was asked about his weight 4 times during his media availability, growing increasingly frustrated by the follow-up questions. No kidding, that would be annoying. Smith is hoping his impressive production at Alabama will speak for itself as he will not participate in any pro day workouts scheduled for Tuesday. Smith was often seen running past defenders rather than being hit or caught by them, catching 117 receptions for 1,856 yards and 23 receiving touchdowns, leading the Crimson Tide to a national championship last season. Quote, if you're a good player, you can nitpick all you want about a guy's size. Good players are good players. I think we can all see that. This guy's a very good player, said Brian Flores of Smith. He made a lot of big plays in college. He made a lot of big plays in the big games, biggest games of the year. I don't know, man. I'm more in love at this point. If the Dolphins could get Pitts or Jamar Chase, I would be more in love with either of those picks. Ooh, Rafa in Miami says, curious question, how light is Will Fuller? He looks like he's on the thin side as well, but I've said this before. Smith looks like he has a 26-inch waist, so thin. Yeah, you're right about that. I remember seeing a photo of him. I think at my physical peak, I had a 32-inch waist. Like I'm at like a 38 now, but at my peak, I had a 32-inch waist when I was in my prime. We're talking from about 02 to 05. I had a very, very small prime. My prime was about 3 years, my prime years. I had a 32-inch waist. And yeah, Devontae Smith, he looks like his waist is like a 26. Let me look up Fuller, and I'm sure that the listed weight is probably a little bit of an exaggeration. Will Fuller, height and weight. Let's see what they say. Yeah, Rafa, you're right. He's about that. 6 foot, 172 pounds. But Will Fuller has had durability issues. So isn't that kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Right? If we're talking about Devontae Smith being 6'1", 170, you're worried about his durability. Case in point, Will Fuller, 6 foot, 172 pounds, has never gotten through a full 16-game season. He might have last year, if not for the PED suspension. He played 11 games and got suspended. But Will Fuller has had trouble staying healthy in the NFL. He's got a very similar frame to Devontae Smith. Were you going to say something, Alex?
No, I was going to say that, players like, Will Fuller, if you can make those deep routes and execute on those plays, there'll be a spot for you on an NFL team.
Yeah.
No matter, and we always talk about, we've been talking about Fuller's, injury history. Yeah, he really hasn't played a full season, but why is he still around? Because he can still make those plays.
Yeah, but then you're talking about a 3rd overall pick, though.
Yeah,
that's the only difference. Because
we're
we're getting Will Fuller. We're getting Will Fuller on a 1-year deal. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different than spending a 3rd overall pick
and banking on the future as well on that player.
Yeah,
I understand what you mean now.
And I like Will Fuller a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also the 1-year deal of it. It gives you a little bit of an escape clause because you're gonna draft a receiver or two, so you're already gonna have his replacement, at least one of them, on the roster this coming season. And if Will Fuller, if he can help you, fantastic. And I expect him to. They're not taking a flyer on Will Fuller. I'm not saying that. But if for any reason he doesn't live up to your expectation, and if he gets hurt and misses a handful of games, it's a one-year deal. You wash your hands and move on. I think he's – and the reason why I think Will Fuller is going to have a really good year this year, he's playing for a contract. You've got him the perfect year. He's rolling the dice on himself. He's gambling on himself, right? Because he saw that the wide receiver market sucks this year. So instead of signing a long-term deal, I'm going to sign a one-year prove-it deal, and I'm going to get my money next year. So you bet your ass he's going to play his butt off to try and get that money. We're up to 13 lawsuits now on Deshaun Watson. I mean, these I have a hard time believing they're all made up. Like, for the conspiracy theorists out there that think this guy is just, that this is all about the Houston Texans who wanted to ruin his reputation, I have a hard time believing 13 people are just lying through their teeth. This is not looking good for him. This is from ProFootballTalk.com. Josh Alper wrote this story. The number stood at 7 when today began, but per multiple reports has risen to 13 cases on Monday afternoon. Houston lawyer Tony Busby said last week that he had 12 clients ready to proceed with suits and that he'd spoken to 10 other women with similar accounts about Watson's alleged misconduct while receiving massages. Monday's filings included an allegation of misconduct from this month, and the others are all from last year. Watson has denied the accusations, and his attorney called them meritless, while saying further responses would come this week. The NFL has opened an investigation into the allegations against Watson. Marla writes in, courts of law require physical evidence and witnesses. Let's not forget, though, these are civil suits. So, this could become criminal because I know that Houston police are looking into it. For now, these are civil suits, which it's got a different burden of proof. Like, you remember, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the criminal trial, but he was found responsible for the murders in the civil trial. So it seems like it's a little bit easier to win the civil cases than it is to win the criminal cases. There's a lot of things that look strange. I mean, Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback for an NFL team, why is he having to go slide into DMs of Instagram models to get massages? It's a little strange, right? I mean, if he's doing this for therapeutic reasons, seems to me like the Houston Texans could send a masseur to his house, like the guy who works for the team. Like, it's weird that he's got to be tracking down because the woman, the lovely Lala, who came out and said, yeah, I massaged him and nothing happened. It didn't become sexual. Still, it's like, if you look at this woman's Instagram profile, there's like no mention of her even being a massage therapist. She's an Instagram model. Like, well, why is he even going? And again, what I'm saying, this is not any proof of sexual assault. So I'm not trying to convict him of a crime here. I'm just saying that there are some weird circumstances around here that he's like soliciting massages from 22 different women. He's flying in from other parts of the country, some of them. It's like, it doesn't seem like he has to do that if he's getting therapy for his body. It's a little weird. All right, we're going to bring in our pal Michael Christian for the crossover when we come back. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
And so much going on today. Bringing our good friend Michael Christian, who hosts Game Night 6 to 7 o'clock every night. Michael, how was your weekend, man? Everything good?
Yeah, man, my weekend was good, other than, those Heat games, which were just atrocious. But yeah, it's a fun weekend. Glad it was the weekend. I mean, I'm sure we can all use that time to recharge and forget about things for a little while.
By the way, so, for the Heat, I know they're coming off 3 straight L's, but we're looking towards the trade deadline and what potentially might come. How far are you willing to go for Kyle Lowry, right? Because any time that we talk about the possibility of giving up Tyler Hero, it's going to divide the fan base. Do you think the juice would be worth the squeeze if Hero would be required to bring in Lowry?
I think if in return you're just getting Kyle Lowry, I'm not a huge fan of it. But I think if the Heat threw in Tyler Hero, you might be able to get Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell, which both of those guys on the Heat would absolutely elevate them to a level that they haven't been at all season long, and would, in my opinion, put them much closer to championship contention than if they kept who they currently have.
Yeah. So are you optimistic that something happens? Because if not Lowry, there's still Victor Oladipo chatter, and a lesser move, but maybe a buyout and bring in LaMarcus Aldridge. Do you think the Heat are going to look a little bit different come the end of the week?
I absolutely think the Heat are going to look different come Friday. I think they're going to make a move between now and then. I just don't see how they don't. You've watched the team, and when it's good competition, it just doesn't feel like the Heat are just as there. And convincing wins this season, the Heat have so few. So if they saw all of that and decided not to make a move, I'd be completely shocked. Pat Riley's on the phone all day long this week.
Absolutely. What do you have planned for game night tonight?
Going to be talking some basketball. Going to talk about the Miami Heat and the trade deadline, which is coming up. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I did want to address all this Tyler Hero conversation. Then we're going to talk some Dolphins. You had Devonta Smith come out today and say he was 170 pounds, and now everyone's freaking out about it.
Yep.
And it's a Marvel Monday. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier just had its premiere episode this past Friday.
I watched that. What did you think? I enjoyed it. I mean, definitely it has a much different feel from WandaVision. Like, WandaVision was so unique, especially in the early parts, where Falcon, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but Falcon and Winter Soldier, it feels more like the first episode felt more like 47 minutes of a Marvel movie, so it felt more kind of true to that universe.
Yeah, it felt much more like a Marvel movie, but this is, and I think this is Marvel just flexing its muscles, really. They can hit on so many different genres with all of their characters.
Yep.
The WandaVision story was a very much character development thing. This is going to have character development as well, but it's more of like an action show. They can do so many different things, and eventually Marvel's just going to hit every genre possible, and I am so here for it.
I love it. Game night is coming up. Michael, have a great show.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good rest of your evening.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, man. So, hey, make sure you tune in weeknights 6 to 7. Catch Game Night with Michael Christian. Listen to the show that provides the smorgasbord that gamers love and sports fans desire. From breaking sports news to the latest in gaming culture, catch Game Night with Michael Christian 6 to 7 p.m. exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Kai Chen Chisholm.
Game studio Innersloth recently announced that the new map in their popular multiplayer game Among Us will release on March 31st along with multiple updates. The map will bring new spawn locations, bug fixes, more tasks, and much more for players to do. The studio, which does have a small development team, saw the game increase in popularity at random in the summer, over 2+ years after its original release. Streamers such as the group Offline TV, in particular Disguised Toast, took off in popularity with the rise of the game and have been expecting an update for quite some time. While they've been waiting for the updates, streamers have been using mods in the game made by modder Automated to spice things up. The game can be played on PC, Nintendo Switch, iPhone, Android, and soon on Xbox.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report.
Now streaming online.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. This is the official home of Inter Miami CF.
Higuain will now take. His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction, your custom home builder, additions and home remodeling. Our lives have changed. We're making our homes more of an oasis. Call the right place. Call the right people. Eric at EJD Construction for over 16 years. A-rated member of Angie's List in the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Now streaming online.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Onside Radio presents Game Night with Michael Christian. Welcome to the show with a gaming culture and a sport